So it's just like the regular show. It's $20.
What did I do to deserve this? What did I do to
I
deserve
don't
this,
know.
Adam?
Maybe you were
What
mean to
did I
somebody.
do to deserve this treatment?
You were mean to Doomer.
I mean, listen, it's a new day. Okay, I've decided.
Turn over a
I
new leaf.
Listen,
Do
it's
it.
time to turn over a new leaf. Okay, I've decided that I'm going to be nothing but impeccably nice to Doomer from now on. Okay,
We've decided
nothing
we
but
love
nice.
Doomer.
Yes, well, you've always loved Doomer. So,
We're ending the conflict. We're ending the war with Doomer, and now
yes,
we've got an armistice agreement we've signed.
yes, nothing but love.
Let's get into
Okay.
this video, Sitch. What is
Hey
taking so long?
now! It's your boy PSA Sitch here with another Tuesday stream with everyone's favorite sunglasses enthusiast, Adam Friended.
What's up? What are we watching today? We're watching Destiny defends himself in heated 3v1 debate.
Yes.
Right.
We're obviously not going to watch the whole thing because it's 4 fucking hours long.
Right. Yeah.
But there were parts of it that you want to watch and talk about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I noticed you titled the stream appropriately. No, wait a second. You didn't pick my title. You bastard.
No. What was you tell everyone what you wanted me to title the stream?
Mr. Jealous Ex-Girlfriend confronts Destiny about his relationship with Nick Fuentes. That was my pitch for the title, but obviously,
okay,
Sitch didn't like it. So,
all right.
So let's get into this video. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Do we need any background? I don't.
Mr. Girl is upset at Destiny that if you haven't been following, Destiny's been having lots of conversations with Nick Fuentes,
Right.
famous white nationalist, who not only has he been having conversations with him, but he was in, like, they had a live conversation in Destiny's home, and they went out and they ate chicken and waffles together and filmed it. And Mr. Girl is not very happy about their interactions.
Right. So we're discussing issues of platforming, and I really wanted to talk to Sitch about this because, I mean, it's an interesting dilemma about the platforming thing, and I really do feel like there's these two competing churches, and people are kind of like proselytizing their politics, and they're really worried. Oh, the church we're competing against is going to get too big. You have to keep them smaller. I guess that's really just in general platforming rank and file conservatives. I guess if you're platforming someone who's a white nationalist, it's a different situation.
Yes, of course.
So I wouldn't condone, I wouldn't want to platform like a pedo. I would move away from platforming, vocal pedophiles. So
Are you trying to apply something?
and no, I'm just saying I wouldn't platform a pedophile or a white nationalist myself.
Okay, so wait. So you wouldn't platform a white nationalist, is what you're saying. So does that mean that you wouldn't talk, or you wouldn't have Nick Fuentes on this stream?
I don't think I would. No, I mean, I wouldn't. Not that he's asked to come on or anything.
No.
What is really the game plan there? What is the point?
I don't know. Talk to him.
I just feel like people would just get mad at me for saying the wrong things or doing the wrong things.
Right.
It's just a lot of bullshit I don't necessarily want to deal with. So,
Well,
but
okay.
I'm actually kind of agnostic about Destiny talking to Nick Fuentes. How do you feel about Destiny talking to Nick Fuentes?
Well, on one hand, for most of it, I have no problem with it. For most of it, I have no problem with it. But maybe we should watch part of it, and then we'll get into it a little bit deeper.
Okay, let's hear Mr. Girl complain about it.
But aren't even normal people. So I
don't disagree. I'm trying to find what's a difference in what you think the responsibility should be between like me and a comedian.
So the real question, the difference is that people are looking to you to figure out what they think about politics, and people are not generally looking to Louis C.K. to figure out what they think about politics.
Whether you're trying to figure it or not, do you not think that people are influenced by the types of jokes or things that these people say?
They are, but that's not. Those are similarities. You're asking me about differences. The difference is a fan of you or a fan of me or a fan of Chud is looking up to us politically.
See, look at that. We can just assign people their politics, Sitch. Do you accept that? I mean, this is why I wanted to talk to you about this, because I think I have a fundamentally different way of looking at the world. I think people's politics is more like their sexual orientation. It like comes from within, and then they find a community that resonates with that internal political compass.
Well, I think someone's like general overall political sense comes from within. So whether someone is going to be on the left or the right or something like that might come from within. But then how that breaks down into specific thoughts on specific issues, I think 100% can be influenced by listening to pundits or YouTubers or the news or whatever. I think that has a huge influence on what people think. Because, I mean, we've probably seen this a lot. Like something will be said by a YouTuber, something will be said on the news, and then everyone just repeats that argument, again and again and again, even if it's a bad argument.
yeah, but I'm saying, and this breaks down kind of like by the elephant rider metaphor, as in, their gut intuitions about an issue, say abortion.
Right.
Whether or not they're pro-life or pro-choice is based on their gut intuition. And then there's good arguments for each side. And they're obviously just going to take to the good arguments that confirm their gut intuition. But the gut intuition is the source of their arguments.
Well,
so, I mean, someone is going to have a gut intuition about Destiny. Right. They're going to gravitate to his community. He's going to give them good arguments for that gut intuition. But Destiny's wrong about shit all the time. So he's giving people good arguments for shit they're wrong on.
Right. But so, again, I think that's true. I think that's true for some positions, like abortion. I don't think, I'm sure some people can have their mind changed on abortion. I don't think most people are going to have their minds changed on abortion. Though I would assume that if someone's a big Destiny fan and they're very pro-choice, that maybe Destiny can make them at least understand the other side. Maybe he can make them kind of temper and moderate their opinion.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
So
I like to see him doing that.
Right. Well, I think he's sort of on the fence on abortion. I think he's kind of like, if I recall correctly, I think he's like pro-choice, but barely.
Really?
Yes. So I definitely think that's possible. I definitely think you can moderate people's opinions. People, who watch us all the time say this. They say that we've moderated their opinions, they feel, or we've tempered sort of their opinions, kind of prevented them from becoming extremist or getting sucked into, a left or right wing bubble. So that's definitely a huge influence that we've seen, that I've seen in other communities that YouTubers and other people like us can have on people. But I still think that for a lot of issues that people don't have strong intuitions on, like, for example, what they're debating about, should Destiny talk to Nick Fuentes? Should Nick Fuentes be platformed? There's a lot of people that have very strong intuitions about that, but there's a lot of people that probably don't. And if you don't have a very strong intuition going into a political subject, I do agree, and you're not going to like this, I do agree with the Scott Adams take that people's political positions are very often assigned to them by whatever news source that they listen to.
If they don't have gut intuitions on them, I agree. If they do have gut intuitions on them, the gut intuitions are going to be where their opinion comes from.
Yeah, but that's sort of true. But look at like COVID's a perfect example of this. Okay, we had, when COVID's first starting, who's the one that's worried about it? Who's the one that's raising the red flag about it? Is it the left or the right?
The left.
The right. No, it was the right. It was the Tim Pool saying, "Oh my God, there's a crazy disease. It's gonna hit America. No one's taking this seriously."
Okay.
Blah blah blah. You gotta buy your emergency rations, guys. No one knows what this is gonna be. It was all the right wing preppers that were super worried about COVID.
I don't remember any of this, but
and then
for the sake of argument, I accept it.
But what changes is that once the lockdowns start to be discussed, then that triggers, the rights, liberty oppression foundation.
Gut intuition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gut intuition on that level. But then this is the problem, is that instead of just saying, listen, COVID could be serious, but I still don't agree with the lockdowns. That's not the way people think. People say, "Oh, well, I don't agree with the lockdowns, so therefore COVID must not be serious," right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's like that's the way that the following occurs. And then it was the same thing with the vaccines. At first, when Donald Trump was president and he was doing the warp speed thing, it was generally the left that was anti-vax, way before COVID. It was always people on the left that were anti-vax. People like, there were a couple people like in the maybe Alex Jones, conspiracy right that were anti-vax, but it was mostly
You're losing me here. What's the point?
The point is that like with the vaccine stuff, as soon as Trump loses the presidency and Biden becomes president and the vaccine comes under Trump, everyone's opinion on the vaccine switch. When Trump was president, you had everyone on the left saying that they didn't want to take the vaccine and they didn't trust the vaccine.
Right.
And then as soon as Biden becomes president, suddenly everyone switches. And as the left is like, oh my God, you have to get vaccinated. And the people on the right say they don't trust the vaccine. So that's why I'm saying.
But that's still gut intuition.
No, but
they didn't switch based on arguments. They didn't. They switched based on their gut intuition.
You're correct. But what I'm saying is that they switched based on who was presenting the information to them and who they viewed as being in charge of the issue.
I mean, they're ready to turn on Trump over the COVID stuff. I sent you the clip today.
Now that the opinion has been solidified. Yes.
Okay.
But I'm saying in those early, like when the vaccine was coming out, opinions were very different. So that's why I'm saying I don't necessarily agree with you. I don't think you're giving enough credit to people and pundits and YouTubers' abilities to influence people's opinions and change their minds.
Well, this is the question that I have. And I don't feel like all you're doing is basically consulting your gut intuition about how much influence they have. I would like something more solid, like a little bit stronger metric on. I mean, if Destiny really only has the power to move people, maybe 10% of the people, 10% of the way, that's fucking nothing. That's like completely inconsequential in the world. Yet everyone jumps on as if Destiny could tell everyone, this is how you're going to vote, and they would vote that way. Like, that's a big part of the equation that I think nobody is considering.
Well, let's do a poll. How should I word this poll?
Mm-hmm.
Can YouTubers and pundits change people's minds? Is that a good question?
Well, all people are going to do is consult their gut intuition.
Well, I understand that, but these are the people who we're talking about here, right? Whether they could change their minds or not.
I did a poll because Destiny was arguing with that YouTuber Punished Mother. Merrick, I think is her name, on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, and she was arguing that Destiny is doing terrible things by platforming Nick Fuentes and how this is going to change everything, tip the balance of power, all of this stuff. And I was curious if people could whether or not people believed people could be turned into Nazis over social media. So I did a poll on Twitter about it. And I did 2 polls. It dawned on me, I was curious more than anything if people were just, if their political bias was stepping in. So, if they're on the left, they obviously believe people could be turned into Nazis on social media. And if they're on the right, they don't. So I split up the poll in yes, and I'm on the left, yes, and I'm on the right, no, and I'm on the left,
right,
and no, I'm on the right. I don't know if you saw the poll, but
I didn't know.
It almost got 1,000 respondents, and it's pretty interesting. Here, I'll send you a link.
Okay.
So, but really, and a lot of people were objecting to the poll based on the fact that, I guess they were objecting on whether or not this is something you could actually know. But I was more curious about if it was something people believed, because that's what I'm more interested in, right? Like, you want to know if people believe this or not, because so many people, I think, are terrified that Destiny is going to have a conversation with Nick Fuentes, and 100,000 Nazis are going to be created overnight. And that's the claim that I want to investigate, because I think that claim is very. I don't believe that claim. I don't believe that claim at all. I think people rarely change their opinions, and that is actually a very stabilizing force in the world. Here, maybe I'll try to bring this poll up.
So far, overwhelmingly, people in our audience say that yes, we can change. You can change the minds of, YouTubers and political pundits can change people's minds. Overwhelmingly. Yes. Okay. So, I don't know. I mean, I think you're not giving enough credit, I guess, to
well, the
to YouTubers and political pundits to change people's minds.
There was a time when 99% of the population believed the world was flat. Those people were all incorrect. Just because the people in the poll believe this does not mean they are correct.
No. I understand.
Yeah. My question really is, and my purpose in doing the poll is asking, what do people I'm more curious about what do people believe, because what they believe is what influences their behavior. Like the reason people are losing sleep about Destiny platforming someone like Nick Fuentes is because this is what they believe. And this is why, we need to get more sociology majors, like real sociology, not gender studies sociology, in our audience. Because this is the perfect thesis for somebody, right? I want to know the answer to this. How do we investigate the answer to this mystery?
Well, you'd have to change. You'd have to actually track what people's opinions are, and then you have to see if they change by listening to someone, surveying
them. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Do you want to keep watching the clip?
Sure. Let's go.
Oh, and just to explain what they're arguing about. This conversation is very strange. So for this conversation, I feel like I have a weird take on this conversation. I listened to most of it, but not the whole thing because it's like 4 hours. I don't agree with Mr. Girl's base idea.
Oh, thank God.
Which is that, to me, I am highly skeptical that people from Destiny's audience would be swayed into becoming white nationalists.
Right.
Maybe this is my naivete, but it's hard for me to imagine that people who watch Destiny would have inclinations towards ethno-nationalism, because he's just so against that repeatedly and obviously. And on top of that, I don't think, when Destiny talks to Nick, he always pushes back on Nick, and he always generally gives good arguments against Nick. So it's not like he's, having all these conversations with Nick where Nick is just steamrolling him and looking like he's right all the time.
Right.
So I don't buy the idea that anyone from Destiny's audience is going to be swayed into Nick's camp. However, in this specific conversation itself, I think Destiny does a horrible job defending himself. And I think that Mr. Girl, even though he's, losing the optics game because he's very angry, and that's all people, tend to focus on, his arguments are actually strong arguments, even though I disagree with them. So it's really weird. I'm like, I think Mr. Girl's making better points, but I'd still disagree with his overall thesis statement. And what they're talking about right now, and this is what I think is a terrible argument, is that Destiny brought up as a counter, like, that you have to be entertaining, in stream, which I agree with. But then he starts trying to compare himself to a comedian, and asking Mr. Girl, what's the difference between a comedian and like him? And to me, that's such an obviously insane question. That if you think there's no difference between a comedian and like a political streamer like Destiny or Hassan or Vosh, who talk about politics but then are also funny, in the way that they talk, like they're not, like, how can you compare those two things? That's such obviously a false equivalence.
Yeah, I don't remember the context of being a comedian. I bookmarked that part of the conversation because obviously we have a comedy show, and people accuse us of like hiding behind the fact that we have a comedy show, which I don't think we've ever done once. So,
we've done it as a joke, We've never done it.
Oh yeah,
seriously.
of course we've done
Right.
it as a joke, but yeah, no, we understand where the serious belongs and where the joking around belongs. I
Right.
think that's the important part of the important aspect of that. And I mean, there are a bunch of, I mean, Destiny is kind of arguing just to argue, and we're past that part of the video, so we're not actually going to see that. But
Right.
but he does make a good counterpoint that a lot of comedians are influential politically. Dave Chappelle is probably the perfect example of it. I mean, he's making political messages in his latest comedy specials, his last two, specifically about
Sure.
trans and LGBT
Right.
stuff.
But
That is
but there's a huge difference between someone whose primary motivation is to make you laugh.
right,
That's their primary goal.
right.
And then also sometimes they talk about cultural issues
Well,
because
this is-
cultural issues are funny. But wait, and comparing that to someone whose primary goal is not to make you laugh, but is to, keep you informed about politics or talk about politics, and then they make you laugh secondary.
This
And
is-
just to me, that's I don't know how you can compare these things. They're so obviously different.
This is why I wanted to talk about this video, because it very much seems, and maybe this is just me, maybe this is my, Liberty Oppression Foundation just bristling at the idea that this is their primary motivation. But it seems to me their primary motivation is to proselytize their politics, and their secondary motivation is to entertain, is what you're saying. But I mean, my primary motivation is to entertain here. I don't give a flying fuck how you vote. Like I have a completely different way of looking at voting than most people do. So I think that you should consult how voting affects you personally and
Right.
vote that way. Yeah.
But you understand that neither you nor I are indicative at all. And I
Yes.
assume the chat would agree with me, of most political streamers.
Right. Yeah. We're here, Team Truth. We're just trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this is why I'm like, ugh, these guys just, oh God, I feel like I'm in church. Yeah, they're so worried. They're like, oh my God, we're going to lose members to their church. I think, and I agree with what you said about, I doubt white nationalists are going to be, are like, what is really going to happen is white nationalists are going to watch Destiny because Nick Fuentes went on, and they may watch him for a while hoping, Nick Fuentes won Destiny over. They're going to watch him with a dream in their hearts
Right.
that Destiny one day will become a white nationalist.
Right.
And that's just never going to happen. Like,
Yeah. Or they want to see Destiny get, destroyed in an argument or something. And
right.
it's just,
Or
to-
his
to me-
audience go after him for doing it.
that whose audience?
Destiny's audience go after him for platforming
Yeah,
Nick
a bunch of
Fuentes,
people in
which
his
they are
audience
doing.
are
Yeah.
going after him. Yes, right.
Yeah, it's all
Well,
good fun for them.
And it's weird because to me, it seems, now this is I'm consulting my gut here,
Yeah.
but it seems far more likely that Destiny would pull people from Fuentes' audience to his side than the other way around. That just seems way more plausible in my mind.
I don't know. I'm not certain about that, but
Okay.
I started this conversation saying it. I think the gut intuitions are driving the show. So
Of course,
if
of
someone comes on and listens to one of Destiny's streams, they're not listening to the arguments, okay? As soon as Destiny makes a joke about one of his wife's boyfriends, they're going back to Nick Fuentes' stream.
There was, first of all, lots of people have said that they were de-radicalized by Destiny.
Yeah,
Okay?
but I don't
So, but
know.
wait a minute.
Okay.
And
So-
then, this is why this is such a weird conversation. Mr. Girl has a big problem with Destiny, and this is the example he keeps bringing. He has a big problem with Destiny eating chicken and waffles with Nick Fuentes in Florida, and they were together and they filmed it. And it's so weird because in that conversation, a person who knows both of them walks up to them and says, and has like a 10-minute conversation with them, and says, I used to be a big Nick Fuentes fan, but now I agree with Destiny more.
Really?
Yes. So in the very conversation,
How much
that
did
Mr. Gold's-
Destiny pay him?
Right. So, but in the conversation that Mr. Gold's having about the problem, the with Destiny about the problem he has with him, a guy literally comes up and says that Destiny pulled him away from Nick Fuentes.
Right.
So
I
I don't.
mean-
That's what I'm saying. Like it just does. That seems so much more likely to me than the inverse.
Yeah. Okay. I'm agnostic on the point, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
Okay.
I mean,
You
like-
think people are pretty set in stone, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it really is I think people's politics are a lot like sexual orientation. I do. I feel like they have certain intuitions about people, and the more I do YouTube, the more I believe that. Like a lot of people are just like feeling our conversations. They're not really even following along with our arguments.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what makes the actual conversation, this one and then the follow-up conversation
Interesting.
between Destiny and
Yeah.
Mr. Go, so interesting, is because I know, and the chat knows, that I am a weirdo, autistic boy. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
So when I'm listening to people have a debate, and you know this from our experience too, when I'm hearing someone in debate, I'm doing something that's very bizarre.
Yes, me too.
I'm listening to what they're saying.
I know it is.
And that's it. I'm trying to listen past. I'm not trying to look at their body language. I'm not trying to follow their tone of voice. I'm trying to listen to the actual thoughts and ideas that they are saying.
Uh-huh.
And that's very weird.
It is
because
weird.
most people don't do that. Most people just kind of get a general sense of things by the energy and emotion and the way like most people are far more influenced by the way in which someone says something rather than what they actually say.
Right. Yeah.
And so
True.
That's why I find the conversation fascinating, because I think Destiny does very poor in this conversation in terms of what he's actually saying. But optically, Destiny does fantastic in this conversation because he seems very not bothered and calm and chill for most of it, where Max comes off as very emotional, very grating, very, like, you have to do what I'm saying. He's overblowing and he's like, Nick's gonna fucking kill me. He's saying like crazy shit. And he's coming off like very crazy. But if you actually like ignore all that and listen to the arguments he's giving Destiny, he's making far stronger arguments. And I'm saying this as someone who doesn't even agree with him. But then no one notices that because they're all caught up in like the way in which he's speaking.
Jealous Mr. Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just think it's very interesting.
God, you should have named this stream Jealous Mr. Ex-Girlfriend. I don't know why you didn't.
You can change it.
That title was... I came up with the best title.
Because listen, I'm trying to be less mean. It's a mean thing to say.
Really?
Jealous Mr. X.
You're trying to be less mean?
Yes. Positivity.
Oh,
It's a new leaf for Sitch.
I don't like that.
You know what?
No, that's cool. I guess we can be.
Okay. Let's watch some more of this.
Let's
right?
watch. Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, we got a lot more to get.
Okay,
And
I don't
you
think
have a
that
huge fan base.
Sure. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I just don't think that difference matters. But
Okay.
So I guess the concept then is that because there's some level of this looking up that's happening, the concern is rooted in this idea of like going for a friendly meal with Nick Fuentes, even if you're, having a disagreement with him at some point, is a problem, right? That's kind of where we are with this, I guess.
See, everyone's talking like he's literally Hitler.
Oh, Fuentes?
Fuentes, yeah, exactly.
Right.
well, get into it. What do you want to say?
Okay. I have some things to say about it.
The thing that right, this is so
okay.
sorry, listen, I just want to say, because me and Mr. Gold have obviously, we've planned this ambush very, in a lot of detail. I haven't really. We just spoke about it, behind the scenes. I'm sure he doesn't mind me revealing a few non-specific details that flesh it out a bit. But there's been times where like I've soyed out a bit when I've seen something you're doing. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This sounds crazy. But then when I watch the content, you know, I'm like, okay, this doesn't seem as bad as I thought. Like some of the ways it's described on Twitter and stuff, obviously you buy into it a little bit. And then lo and behold, you look at it and you're like, no, Destiny's gone on and fucking slammed Nick Fuentes in this, you know, Sneeko conversation, you know? And then it's the same thing where I'll be like, fuck me, you went for dinner with Nick Fuentes, what the hell? And then I watch it and I'm like, okay, this doesn't seem quite as bad as I thought. So I keep having this problem where I have a reaction to it, and there's been times where I've messaged Mr. Go and been like, "Oh, what's going on here? What's all this about? Have you seen this? This is crazy." And then I watch it, and I'm a bit more like, "Okay, well that's fine." And then Mr. Go gets freaked out because I've watched it and I'm not freaking out like I was before. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, but I do understand having like an emotional response or an emotional reaction to the idea of it happening. The problem I have is like, what's the actual harm or what's the actual outcome off the back? Of even if you think it's bad, even if you think there's bad things happening, what is actually going to happen at the other end? Like, are we going to have the Fourth Reich? Are we going to have a Holocaust? Like, probably not. So what is the issue,
I did.
See, everyone is going off of their gut intuitions. This is the same thing as like, my gut intuition tells me we're going to sail off the earth.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
So until we
I
get some
mean-
numbers, we don't know jack shit.
Yeah, but like, how else are you supposed to have this conversation? I mean, there's no study that's gonna show like, wow, how many people are radicalized by watching, Nick Fuentes talk to Destiny? Like, you kind of have to go off your gut intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, that's the thing. I'm taxing my brain to try to think of some way to study this phenomenon, but I mean, sooner or later we're going to have to study it. And
Well, yeah.
is the knowledge that we're going to gain from studying it going to be used for nefarious things? I
Right.
feel like it could
Right.
be.
Well, my sense of things is that I hear, this is totally based off of, personal anecdotes, but I hear people like Destiny, people like us, who say like, people will say, oh, I was more extreme, and then you kind of moderated my takes. I don't really hear people like Nick Fuentes saying, oh, I've had people come up to me and say, oh, I was pretty moderate, but then you made me an extremist radical. Like, I've never, like, that's not a thing. Like, usually what happens, or at least the stereotype of what happens is, someone is, they're on like they're on 4chan or whatever, and maybe they're not in the best of place, and they're kind of maybe not super up or knowledgeable about political information, and they kind of get sucked down, the rabbit hole, right? Into those spaces. And then having a voice, someone who talks to those people and says, no, you're actually wrong about X, Y, and Z. I think that does pull people out. I definitely think that does pull people out. Because especially if I think a lot of the appeal for people like Nick and for that crowd is to say, oh, we have secret information that like they won't want you to hear. And then they'll tell you a bunch of things that sound persuasive or sound true. You were talking about how, I don't know, can I talk about what you told me earlier before the stream started?
I don't remember, but go ahead.
About your friend?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Like, you were saying that you had a friend who's like, Adam, I looked into the numbers. I don't think 6 million Jews died in Africa.
It's fucking terrifying.
And you're like, what the fuck? And it's the thing, it's like people, like, there's all this it's the same thing with the 9/11 conspiracy stuff, okay? There's all this, like, very persuasive, like, fake documentary shit, where if you just go out there and just watch one side of it, and so why almost documentaries.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. He watched one of those documentaries.
Right. If you just watch one side of like a conspiracy documentary about anything, it's like, oh, this is the most fucking convincing thing in the world. Oh my God. And then it takes the time to go through all the claims and be like, actually, like, this is all fucking bullshit. And I do think that for a lot of people, they get into these spaces because they hear someone like Nick, they hear someone else, and they tell them all this kind of like conspiratorial stuff, and they go, oh, this is super persuasive. And I do think if you have someone like Destiny come in and say, hey, these are the facts,
Right.
You're wrong about blah, 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 I do think that has the power to draw away people's faith and support in a figure like Nick Fuentes, because like, oh, maybe if this guy's wrong about all these things, then what else is he wrong about?
Right. The thing that I think pushes people more right and more radical is like libs of TikTok. They watch
Mm-hmm.
this stuff on libs of TikTok and they get more right wing because it's terrifying to see some of the crazy shit the left is doing. You're just
Right.
utterly repulsed by it.
No, I mean I don't disagree. If you, I like libs of TikTok, but I agree that it does have the effect where if people that's all they see, like this is part of the problem with how flawed our human perception is. Everyone gets like sucked into this little bubble. So if they follow libs of TikTok, if they follow right wing Twitter, all right wing Twitter is doing is showing like the worst things that are going on right now with wokeness.
Yeah.
And so I am able to look at that and say, like, and understand that. But a lot of people look at that and they think, oh, this is the majority of the country. The majority of the country is this horrible shit. It's like, no, no, no. These are the cherry-picked horrible examples, which are bad and we should fight against. But that's not indicative of the entire country.
Well, the
Right.
left does the same thing though. They pull out Nick
course.
Fuentes and say Nick Fuentes is the example of
Yes,
someone on the right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, you're 100% correct. The left will look at Nick Fuentes. They'll bring up Nick Fuentes and say he is the voice of the MAGA movement.
Right. Yeah.
You know, yeah, of course. But this is, I mean, this is the Sitch and Adams
Yeah.
law. You know, that people will,
Yeah.
in a political conversation, people will always point to the extremists of one side and then try to use a broad brush to paint everyone on that side as the extremist.
Yep.
But the problem is that makes people on the left and the right, it makes them fucking afraid of the world because like this is why when we cover these crazy socialist people who think there's literally a fucking Nazi under every rock behind every tree,
Oh,
is because
making-
in the spaces they follow, all they do is they find literally the worst examples of far right people, and then their brain tricks them into thinking that's everyone.
We're making progress here. I think I stumbled upon something. So if you're putting Nick Fuentes against Destiny, you really are putting the far right example against the moderate left example,
Yes.
as opposed to the libs of TikTok example.
Right.
Which, I mean, you can't really lose in that matchup because you have you have like the extreme and then the norm. So if you're painting
Yes.
the left and right, you're painting the right as the extreme, you're painting the left as a moderate, as moderates.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's a
and
winning matchup.
Yes. Well, not for everyone, but for a lot of people, it's wins more than it loses.
Yes. Yeah, that's
And-
what I'm saying.
Right. And Destiny says this at some point in the conversation. And to me, this is like the key point I think that, should be hit upon is that if you go, the far right, the white nationalist, ethno-nationalist crowd will not be defeated by screeching woke SJW leftists.
No,
Okay.
of course
They'll
not.
not be defeated by we're Antifa, we fight the fascists. Not going to be defeated by
No.
any of those fucking assholes. Those people make it worse because,
Yes.
as you said, you have libs of TikTok. You have all these other people that point to that and say, this is the entire country, this is the left. Okay, so those people will never be able to defeat the ethno-nationalists. But you have someone like Destiny who would come in and be reasonable and be like, I understand what you're saying, but, XYZ. To me, that's really how you can steal energy and deflate away from the movement.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough. I really think like racist people is a dying breed. So I don't know that they have enough people to convert.
Um,
But
racism
I
is
could
pretty
be wrong.
inherent. I mean, racism is just a form of tribalism, and tribalism is like the basis of human experience. So I'm not sure.
Right,
I
but
have-
we've literally moved from people not wanting their sons or daughters to be in interracial marriages to people not wanting their sons and daughters to be in interpolitical marriages.
Yeah,
so I
right,
mean,
Yeah, I
it's like
understand. No-
that's all I'm saying.
Right. No, I agree that racism has gone so far, like super far down in this
Right,
country, and
yeah.
has definitely been replaced by political tribalism. I'm just saying, I wouldn't give like an end of history take on racism.
Well, no, obviously it could come back at any second, but
Right.
I'm just saying, dad would rather his white daughter come home with a black Republican than a white like progressive. So
Kalavar's screaming, Destiny's not moderate left because he's a sock dem.
what did
It's
I,
so weird because Destiny
does that
says he's a
even
sock
mean?
dem, but then, like, I don't know what he doesn't, I've never heard him make like some radical left position on anything. I mean, I think he was even against the paying for kids' college debt stuff.
Let's go.
So
I disagree with that. I think Holocaust and genocide are the normal state of humanity, and that it requires people who are actually going to prevent them in power to avoid. So the idea that we're never going to commit genocide or some form
No, wait,
of like
no, come on,
mass
mate. That's fucking
atrocity.
bullshit. I'm not saying we're never going to commit an atrocity, okay? Holding back
So
the
then
joke
what are you
still.
saying?
What I'm saying is, I don't see how we're going to have, like, it's like people act. Like Nick Fuentes and Destiny having chicken and waffles is going to lead to the Fourth Reich and a Holocaust. And I just don't see that
That's a
myself.
straw man. That's a straw man. That's not...
Well,
like,
you just straw man
yeah,
me,
if
so
you-
I straw man you. Fuck you. There we go.
I'm not straw manning. I'm saying that's like saying if you litter, you're killing all the whales. Like it's not in a, you're kind of expanding the
He's making a slippery slope argument, but he doesn't come out and say it.
outcome of a pretty small
Sure. So
occurrence.
you could say, okay, if you litter,
But that's-
right, that's bad for the
Yeah.
for the town that you're in, and it makes it look like shit. So throw your rubbish away, right? So how would you strap that on to the idea of Destiny having dinner with Nick Fuentes, for example?
I believe that by having dinner with Nick Fuentes, Stephen, you're sanitizing. You're sanitizing him.
Okay. That's probably true to some extent, yeah.
And
I fucking love that.
well, it's okay. But he shouldn't even. I understand what he's saying, but he shouldn't capitulate to that. And
Well,
this
it
weird.
is true though to some
Well,
extent. It totally
It's-
is. I mean,
it
he's being
sort
honest.
of is, but it depends on what the dinner is. Okay,
Mhm.
because and this is weird. I wish he would have challenged Destiny would have challenged on this and talk about the specifics, because I watched him eat chicken and waffles with Nick. Which, first of all, Nick is a terrible eater because he barely eats any of his chicken and waffles. Okay,
Really?
and then he eats all the ice cream after the meal, so he's like, that's a weird. I don't know. It's fucking weird to me. The Brit's like, I'm not gonna eat my meal, but I'm gonna eat all the ice cream. Like he barely touches the chicken and waffles. Like he takes like one bite from it. I'm like, what's going on here?
He's
then
waiting for the
Destiny-
ice cream.
And then Destiny doesn't eat the chicken waffles correctly too. The whole point of eating chicken waffles is that you take a piece of the chicken and you take a piece of the waffles and you put them together and you shove them in your mouth. You want both the flavors at the same time. You don't want to eat a piece of chicken and a piece of waffle separately, because then you're just eating separately chicken and separately waffles. You're not eating chicken and waffle.
Yeah, what the fuck?
What the fuck? No, but anyway. But in that conversation at the dinner, they literally talk about Nick's ethno-nationalism. Okay?
Right. Oh,
They're not
okay.
having a chill conversation about music or anime or movies or something. They're talking about Nick's ethno-nationalism. There's a guy who walks by who I forget, he's like talking to them briefly about something. And Nick's like, hey, are you Jewish? Like he even asks him if he's Jewish. And the guy's like, no. And then Nick's like, oh, that's good.
No
like it's not
way.
as a fucking yes. And then Destiny's like, why did you ask him that? And then Nick's like, well, I was been in a place with a lot of Jews and I'm afraid they're gonna like beat me up or something. Like it's just like he's this ridiculous answer. And then
Wait,
when the other-
hold on. Where are the Jews beating people up?
I don't know. He's like, he didn't say. He's like, I was just in a place where there are a lot of Jews and I thought they were gonna brick me. It's like, what the fuck is he talking
I
about?
mean, maybe Nick Fuentes is getting beat up by Jews, but I don't.
That's what he
normally,
means, Nick, not Destiny.
yeah.
Yeah. And then this other guy the guy who says that Destiny like pulled him away from Nick comes over. First of all, it's really weird because this guy says that he was a Nick fan even though he's Jewish, which is fucking bizarre. I don't even
Right.
know how that even happens. See, there's your intuition. There's someone who has a lot of far right
Well,
intuition.
he's a right wing Jew. Obviously, he's doesn't like immigration.
Yeah, but you can not like immigration. You can be right wing without being a fucking ethno nationalist.
Sure. Okay.
And
Yeah.
so
No, I
it's just-
agree.
right, but so it's just weird because you have this guy who says that he used to be a big Nick fan, but he's also Jewish. And so he's like giving Nick hassle. He's like, listen, not all Jews are bad, blah, 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 blah. And then through the course of the conversation, it turns out that this guy, like Destiny, even though he has all these far right intuitions about other things, apparently has some kind of, quote unquote degenerate sexual relationship with his girlfriend, or maybe they're swingers or something. I don't know. It's not clear what they are. And so then Nick is like, oh, so he says all Jews aren't bad, but then it turns out he's like a sex pervert, just like you, Destiny. So it's like, it's super clear in the conversation with Nick Fuentes how he feels about Jews and how he feels about black people and all this stuff. Like it's not being discussed in the very conversation that Mr. Girl has a problem.
Right.
Now,
I didn't watch the conversation, but it sounds
Right.
like my cringe meter would be all over the place.
Now, but maybe this is my problem.
Hmm.
Maybe this is me.
Because you're Jewish?
No,
Oh.
you fucking bigot.
Well, I just
maybe
I would like if someone's talking smack about white people, I feel fucking.
Well, no,
like,
that's not what I'm.
fuck
That's not what I'm
you.
going to say. I was going to say is maybe it's my problem because, as I said earlier, and let me know, chat, if you agree with this. Since I'm a weirdo, autistic, special individual, and I actually listen to the words people are saying, because Destiny's not like freaking out when he starts talking about ethno-nationalism and freaking out when he starts talking about Jews or whatever. And it's just the conversation is being held in a tone that's very, moderate and cordial. Maybe since most people don't interpret conversations that way, they just interpret it the way in which it's being spoken. Maybe they don't see the conversation the way that I do. Maybe they do look at that conversation and say, oh, because Destiny didn't soy out and get triggered at Nick, then he must be a reasonable guy. Maybe that is how people interpret those conversations.
I think it is, yeah. And they also are very upset that Destiny didn't like freak out and confront him and be like, look,
Yes.
you're being racist. You're being a racist piece of shit, and like wag his finger in his face and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which how would you win over Nick's audience of impressionable white nationalists if you're going to wag your finger in his face first? I mean, you just let people watch the interaction and make their own decisions. I mean, that stuff would totally rub me the wrong way. Like, I don't like Nick just hearing about it, but
Right. we should get custom Sitch yarmulkes. I like that.
well, I have a lot of my friends are Jewish. I've lived in
Yes.
Los Angeles for like 20 years. Okay.
Yes.
Like,
I understand.
yeah. So fuck. I don't like that shit. Fuck off. Like Jewish people are very nice people, very good people,
Mm-hmm.
very trustworthy.
Yeah, but
Very
but I guess
honest.
what my question is,
I mean, maybe they're a little perverted, but who cares?
right. But my question is that, am I wrong? Is it that people is Mr. Go right because people are not interpreting conversations the way that I do? They literally just listen to the tone. And so as long as Destiny is cordial to Nick Fuentes, that's all people have.
Are you asking whether or not that is useful in changing people's minds, or whether it's useful in the people who are going to get triggered because he's platforming
In
somebody
changing
shouldn't?
people's minds. Because I agree that you don't want Nick to come off as like a reasonable person, because he's not a reasonable person at all.
Right.
And you kind of get like, remember in the conversation with Carlin and Blair
Borisenko,
White
yeah.
and Lauren and John Doyle.
Lauren Witzke, yeah.
Right.
John Doyle
People
came off very reasonable.
People thought John Doyle was reasonable, even though in that debate, he's saying crazy shit that's exactly the same brand
As
of crazy
Witzke, yeah.
as Witzke's saying. But since he's saying it calmly, it's like people don't hear it. Now, in that
Right.
conversation, obviously people are distracted by Lauren, when the conversation's happening. But I'm wondering that even if Lauren's not there, people are distracted by the fact that he's just not saying it
I
crazy.
figured it out.
What?
We need to get a totally insane white nationalist Holocaust denier on the show. just a loony bin
Yes.
who's just going to go hysterical and yell and scream. That would be perfect. That's the
There you
answer
go.
right there.
There you go.
Everyone will look at that guy and go, "Oh man, I don't want to be like that guy." Right? You don't
Right,
want the
right.
Jared Taylor types. Oh man, that guy's like calm, cool, and collected. You want just a loony guy. Yeah, loony.
No, you're
bins.
right. You're right. Yeah.
Maybe Quackademic Agent is doing us a solid.
There you go.
I mean,
There you
he kind of appears to be losing his mind at times.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's good for the old civil rights cause.
Was there another part you wanted to jump to, or do you want to watch more of this part?
I think there's a little bit more we can
Okay.
watch.
I see it in your subreddit. I gotta stop reading your subreddit, but I see it in your subreddit. There's a lot of jokes like, oh, I saw Steven and Nick have waffles, now I'm a Nazi, or like, now I want there to be a Holocaust, blah blah.
That's them making fun of you, Mr. Girl.
Yeah, he understands. I'm assuming he understands that. But...
No, I think he's saying
he said people are making jokes. So.
Right. He doesn't like those jokes, so.
Right.
I mean, if they're just jokes, that's fine. But I mean, unless Mr. Girl is going down the jokes are hiding the people who are really serious, which they are, but you can't necessarily turn off the jokes because of that. What's the answer? What's the solution to that? No jokes?
Right.
Like, it seems like the general response of your community is, we're not brainwashable, we're not influenceable, we're too smart for Fuentes to screw with our heads. And then there's another like line that's like, well, Fuentes is just an awkward kid. He's like me. I'm his age. We would play Minecraft together. It's like, this guy tried to overthrow the fucking government.
See, that's where I'm like, what? Wait, I missed the part where Nick Fuentes tried to overthrow the government.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the problem, is that Mr. Girl completely loses not everyone, a lot of people listening. He does three things. He keeps calling Nick a Nazi, which this comes up a lot in the second conversation they have, where it's him, Destiny, Abba,
Abba and
this guy
Peach.
named Abba, and this guy named G. Dion, I think. And even though they're both black, they're like, oh, as soon as you call someone a Nazi, my brain shuts off, because that term has been so like overused and oversaturated that it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right, I agree.
And so, yeah, I think it's really bad rhetorically to call him a Nazi, and I don't even think it's really true. You know, people get in the quibbles about what exactly a Nazi means, right? That's why I've always said white nationalist, because I think that's A, descriptively true, and B, not a term that's always, been so beaten to death.
Right.
By anyone. So there's that. Then he also keeps saying that he wants to overthrow the government because, which, I mean, first of all, Nick probably does on some level because he's not a fan of democracy, but that he tried to do it because he was there at January 6th, which, first of all, to me, it's preposterous to think that any of those people could have ever had any success in quote unquote overthrowing the government.
No, it's such a ludicrous claim. You immediately lose all credibility.
Right.
As soon as you say it.
Right. And then he keeps saying that they wanted to kill Mike Pence. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure some people there did, but I don't know.
They wanted someone to kill Mike Pence. They didn't want to do it themselves.
And I've had this conversation with a lot of people on the left, is that, if the rioters broke into Congress, they weren't stopped, I don't think they would have just started like hauling people away and trying to kill them. I think they would have broken and no one would have known what to do, and they would have just stood there and started yelling at them. Like, that's what I think would have happened.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
So,
yeah.
He's kind of by overblowing this stuff. I think he's weakening the rest of his position.
Yes. Yeah.
He's not a normal kid like you. He's like a radicalized, like political, like possible terrorist, or like committing treason.
Oh my God, no! Terrorist committing treason. Catboy Nick. What's happening here, Sitch? You got. I mean, please, can you dumb this down for me?
Well, it's just, as I said, I agree. This doesn't help. This really weakens his argument by the kind of the way in which he phrases all this stuff.
Look, oh my God. It's for me, it's doubly funny coming from Mr. Girl. The guy who's got like a bunch of like pro pedophilia videos on his YouTube channel.
Okay, well, let's be fair. I'm being fair here. To my knowledge, Mr. Girl does not have pro pedophilia videos. Okay.
I mean, he does make an argument that he wants to like normalize pedos. He wants pedos to feel comfortable enough to go to a therapist.
Right, but there's a difference between saying, and I disagree with that argument, by the way.
I disagree too. Yeah,
Totally
totally.
stupid.
Obviously,
But-
I disagree with him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between saying that you think pedophilia should be normalized because you think it's fine. It's like you think people shouldn't be afraid to admit that they're pedophiles so that they will get treatment instead of, harming children.
I'm very comfortable with the social stigma around pedophilia
I am too.
and racism.
I am too. I'm just
So,
saying that
yeah.
you can't. I'm just saying that his position. Now, maybe he's a secret pedo. I don't know. But I'm just
Right.
saying I don't think it's fair to call him a pedo. You're the one that was like, well, let's not just use our
Well,
intuition.
no, I didn't
We
call
need
it.
evidence.
Look, we have no evidence.
Well, when you say he's making pro pedo videos, that's the implication.
What? Hold on. If you want to bring down the stigma of pedophilia, how is that not a pro pedophilia video?
In order so that those people will go get treatment. I don't think it's fair to say it's a pro pedophile. If you say
Wait a second. It's not pro pedophilia. It's pro pedophile.
okay, but wait a minute. Okay, we're having a very semantic argument here.
Well, no, it's
You
not
know-
though. It's not. Though.
Wait,
Listen.
it is. It is. No, it is. Because if you say to a person who's completely not familiar with Mr. Girl's content or position, you say he's made pro pedo or pro pedophilia videos.
Not
what are they going to
pedophilia.
think?
Pro pedophile.
Pro pedophile videos. What do you think? What are they going to interpret that? How are they going to interpret that?
I mean, they're going to think that he's in favor of that he supports pedophiles.
Exactly.
Well, he does
Okay.
support pedophiles.
No, but
though.
in terms
He
of
literally
them raping
does.
children. But in terms of them raping children, so I'm just saying the implication
Look.
of that is very
Well,
obvious.
it's not.
in
It's
that
not my fault that the like this isn't my fault. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I am saying this is like
Yes.
this is first of all, this is one of my problems with Mr. Girl making, sympathetic videos towards pedophiles is it completely undercuts his credibility when he comes into a conversation like this and he wants to cry
I
about
don't
Nick
disagree.
Fuentes. Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Right. It totally
It's
does,
like cry me a river. Like
Right.
cry me a river.
right.
So I don't it's bizarre to me. It really is. So I mean if Mr. Girl wants to delve into these serious topics, I mean I just think you gotta steer clear of the pro pedophile videos.
Well, listen. First, okay. The problem is that the problem with that is that there's not a good track record. This is the real problem. This is what's triggering
for YouTubers that come out as pro pedophile.
Yes, and this is what's triggering people in the chat's intuitions.
Uh-huh.
For almost all the examples we can think of people who say like, "I'm not a pedophile," but
Right.
they end up being a pedophile.
They end up being a pedophile. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
There's not a lot of good track record for that whatsoever. So that's where people are. That's why people are hearing it. But I'm just saying.
Well,
I
and
like
also
to be very careful and try to be as specific as possible with speech.
and also, Mr. Girl, I have heard when people just want to put it to bed, they just want a flat out denial that he's a pedophile. He
Right.
won't give it. So okay,
I thought he had.
I haven't heard it. I just
I
heard
don't
him.
know. I don't follow him. I've only seen him when he's on Destiny. I don't follow him.
I heard somebody asking him point blank on a panel, and he says, "I don't even want to dignify that with an answer."
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
Which is
not a good look.
not a good answer.
No, not a good look.
So I just,
No.
obviously,
Right.
but I only bring it up because
Mm-hmm.
he's the messenger here. He is the messenger here.
Yes.
So yeah, you can't. This is a pro Felicity thing, which
Well,
Max. I mean, Max does seem like a very smart person. Max should read the pro Felicity book. You and Your Profile. I think
Yeah.
it might help him a lot. Yeah. He might
No, Max-
understand people's reaction to him. So
Mr. Girl, aka Max, is a very smart person, and if in this conversation, even if you disagree with him, he's very smart at catching Destiny's inconsistencies in his argument. So he is very smart. So you're right; he should know better. But I don't know. Maybe this is he's. I mean, he's a really weird guy. So that's the problem. That's why it's kind of hard to tell where he's at. Is because he is so weird
Mm-hmm.
in the way that he presents himself. You're like, I don't know. This is a weird dude.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how much further we'll go. You want to cut off at like an hour and a half?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Like, yeah, he might play Minecraft. Like, yeah, like it is weird to see somebody who does things like that and then see like their human normal side and be like, oh, they're like a normal person. But that doesn't. That is sanitization at work. I feel like, I don't know. I've turned down every possible appearance with Fuentes, and I think I've said through our I've never spoken to him directly, but through our intermediaries, I've said the only way I will talk to Fuentes is in a one-on-one conversation that's like an interview. And the same thing with Lauren Southern. Like, originally I was supposed to play video games with Lauren Southern. We were going to play Call of Duty. And I found out about her like boat thing, and I was like, well, I don't really want to talk to her about anything except the boat thing. And so I'm not saying I won't talk to her, and I'm not saying I don't think you should talk to Fuentes, but in the Giga Chad thing is the reason I think you shouldn't have dinner with Fuentes, because you and him make the same jokes. Like,
That's such a bad argument. Because you and him make the same jokes.
Why? Why is that?
when you're joking around with him, you're making fun of progressives. And when conservatives joke around, they also make fun of progressives. The joke, he pretends to be a Nazi, and when you joke around, you pretend to be a Nazi, but he's actually a Nazi. And so it just feels like because of this dynamic, it makes it, and because Nick Fuentes has said explicitly that he uses humor and irony as a way to get his Holocaust denial or racism, to give cover to it. He's literally said that explicitly. That makes it even more like dangerous.
See, this is my question, because he just asserts that it's dangerous, and I honestly don't know how dangerous it really is. I mean, is Nick going around trying to put together a beer hall pooch? Is he like like what dangerous? How? There's a huge difference between people blowing off steam and joking around on the internet, even if they are racist fucking morons. I mean, I would worry if they're organizing into a militia, but I don't even know if that's a thing in the Nick Fuentes community. And it really, I mean, it seems like even Richard Spencer, who was in charge of them for a while, he seems demoralized. Like he's been kicked off every single platform and just kicked in the nuts for like the last 6 years, to the point where he's like, I don't think he feels like the path he charted was even worth it. So, and that's, I mean, good. Fuck you. Don't be a fucking racist. Like, being a racist is a social taboo in the same way that pedophilia is a social taboo, and it should be a fucking social taboo. I'm in favor of it. So,
see, this is, well, first of all, it's funny. You should say, Max, why shouldn't we destigmatize racists so that they step forward and get treated?
Well, no, the whole idea, like this is why
That's when he should have said that.
This is why it's such an irony, because his argument about pedos is, technically a pedophile is someone who's attracted to underage people, right? So he's saying there are pedos out there that are attracted to underage people but would never act on it. So technically, that's fine. So maybe there's fucking racists out there that are, just racist pieces of shit, but technically, they wouldn't not hire somebody or not work with somebody because they're like, how's it any fucking different? Like you're willing to give pedos. Look, dude, you're willing to give pedos a pass. But if someone makes an off-color joke in a Discord, all of a sudden it's World War III.
I haven't done any research on this because it's not a topic I've ever thought about or cared about. But I would assume that quote-unquote treatment of pedophilia is not very successful.
Yes, it's not. It's not
And-
successful at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason I would assume that is because I believe that a lot of people's sexual interests are either intrinsic
Hardwired, yeah.
or even if they're not intrinsic, because obviously, I don't know about you, but like, the types of women that I've been sexually attracted to has changed, as I've gotten older and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, or if I do know why, it's not like I can be like, oh, probably because of this. Like, it's not like a choice. I didn't choose, I don't think people choose to be sexually attracted to, MILFs or, fit girls or fit boys or whatever they're into, tomboy abs. I don't think people like make a conscious decision to be into,
I know I didn't.
any of these things. Right. Yeah. I don't think people make a conscious decision to be into any of this stuff. So I'm not sure you can make a conscious decision to not be into, any of this stuff either.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, on a past stream like 9 years ago. Like the thing with pedophilia is I assume that, yeah, there are people that are sexually attracted to underage girls or whatever. But just as you're attracted to a specific type of person, that doesn't mean you're going to go out and like rape that person against their will.
Of course not. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
so the problem is like the people that not only are attracted to underage children, but then the people that are attracted to underage children and are also rapists, right?
Yeah.
Or have that inclination that they basically don't care that there will be a rapist. And I don't know, to me, I haven't seen any research on this. I'm just skeptical that you can like treat that out of somebody. I think that's, I think you're just kind of screwed in there about that. kind of stuff.
you can't treat that shit.
Right. So that's why I don't
Keep
agree
the
with
social
this.
stigma high and the wood
Right.
chipper warmed up.
Right. That's why I don't believe. That's why I don't agree with the whole, destigmatize it, because I'm like, well, I don't think that's going to accomplish anything, really.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I totally forgot what Mr. Girl and Destiny were talking about.
That's
We got
okay. I think
sidetracked with pedo stuff.
we're kind of at the. I think I've reached cringe overload. Do you know? Do you have any
Yeah, I know
final
the
thoughts?
treatment
on
isn't for them to stop the attraction. The treatment is for them to stop the action, which I understand that, but like that's like, can you put a rapist in treatment to get them to stop raping? Like I don't.
They
I
do
don't
chemical
know.
castration on them is what they do.
Right, but that's
Yeah.
different. That's like you literally can't stop the behavior without removing the physiological desire.
You know what they use for chemical castration?
No.
Lupron, the same thing that they give as puberty blockers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's true.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to? I think we're going to leave this stream up. Do you want to read super chats and then?
Yeah, I'll read some super chats, but I just want to talk about before I start that. The next conversation that Destiny and Mr. Girl have with Abba and the other guy, J. Dion, he brings up a point that actually almost completely changed my opinion on this entire situation, which I didn't even consider. Because Max, he's bringing up all these points, and I don't agree with Max on any of this stuff, because I don't think people are going to be persuaded to join Nick Fuentes' team or whatever from Destiny's community. But this other guy brings up this very good point. He says, well, what happened is that Destiny's having all these conversations with Nick Fuentes. Destiny's having all these conversations with Sneeko. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Sneeko, first of all, is probably one of the stupidest people on the internet, next to Hassan.
Why? Just let's not go full elitist here, okay? Sneeko seems relatively intelligent for being.
No.
He's like 20. I think he's 22 years old. Sitch, you don't understand. When I was 22 years old, I had my head so far up my ass, I didn't know if it was day or night. Okay.
Okay.
Like you gotta give a guy a break.
It's nothing to, okay.
He's inexperienced.
Wait a minute.
I don't think
Stop.
he's stupid by any way,
Okay.
shape, or form.
There's a different. You can be inexperienced and intelligent. Okay.
Right.
Nick Fuentes is very intelligent.
I don't
Even
think
if you disagree
Sneeko-
with him. Wait. Nick Fuentes is very intelligent, even if you disagree with him, even if you think he's inexperienced about the world, whatever. Okay.
How many
Sneeko-
Sneeko videos have you watched?
I've seen almost all of his conversations with Destiny.
But have you seen his content before he
No.
ever started doing
No, I
live streams and
haven't.
stuff?
So you're right.
He's very smart, man.
Unless he suddenly drops 20 IQ points whenever he's near, maybe Destiny has a special power where he absorbs the IQ of people, and then
Well, that would make
stacks it on his
sense.
own head.
That would
okay?
make sense. That I
Right.
would understand what's going on with Destiny.
Yes, right.
Listen, he used to make man on the street interviews with people
Yes.
that are very smart, very funny. Like I'll show you some videos.
Okay, I'll have to see.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll change my mind. But in every conversation, and maybe he's doing a bit, I don't know. But in every conversation I've seen where he has Destiny, he comes off as incredibly stupid. He comes off very specifically to me.
Look,
wait,
you're doing this.
Wait, listen.
You're doing this.
He
You're
comes
doing
off
the
in-
same thing you hate.
Wait, hold on. He comes off in a very specific way, and maybe this is what like triggers me, why he annoys me so much. He comes off as like
What's
that
that
very
elephant emoji?
he comes off to me as a very bratty, like underage pre-puberty child who, like, you're an adult. You probably had this conversation where you probably had this experience. You're either an adult or you're like in college or something, and you have to interact with a small child who is just a fucking piece of shit for no reason to you. And you're like, this kid is like the smuggest, most egomaniacal, insane person who knows fucking nothing about anything. And you just want to slap the shit out of them because they're so stupid.
Show me on the doll where Sneeko touched
No,
you.
but that's to me, that's how I interpret like everything he says. It's like he's like a small child who's like mouthing off to his parents. His parents are like, you need to go, his parents are like, listen, Sneeko, you need to go to bed at, a reasonable time because otherwise you'll be sleepy and you won't be able to do well in school. And he's like, I don't need to be well in school. The school's for losers. What are you, an NPC? I'm gonna make it big on my own. I'm gonna invest in Bitcoin. Like, you're like, oh my God, stop. Just stop it. Shut up. Holy shit, you're like a child. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, he's literally giving. It was so funny when I was listening to the conversation with him the other day with Destiny.
He's not you. Sitch, you're not going to stop, are you? Keep going.
He's
Go
literally
on.
wait. He's
Get it all
literally-
out.
He's literally fucking Peter Pan. Okay.
What?
His conception. Destiny says like what does it
Destiny
mean?
is fucking Peter Pan.
No,
Does his wife know about this? Sneeko is fucking Peter
Sneeko
Pan.
is fucking Peter Pan. Yes. Destiny says, what does it mean to be a man? And Sneeko's response is, it means I can do whatever I want and no one can tell me not to do it. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, but Destiny did I watched that stream, and that stream was very inspiring. Destiny did an amazing job and was,
want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Destiny laid some wisdom down that got to Sneeko's audience. I'm certain of it.
No,
so,
I agree with you. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. Okay.
Wait a minute.
He's
He's 22. Okay.
Okay. I'm glad you brought this up because this brings us around. I'm gonna go back. We're gonna turn off the triggered Sitch and we're gonna go back to the point here.
Okay, good.
So what the other guy brought up, what Dion brought up was he said, unfortunately, because of Destiny's interaction with both Sneeko and Nick, this hooks up Nick with Sneeko, and Nick and Sneeko have a conversation.
Right.
Okay. And guess what? Sneeko's audience fucking loves Nick Fuentes.
Of course they do.
Because they're all a bunch of dumb fucking children.
Yeah.
Even though Sneeko's not quote unquote white, okay, so he shouldn't be on board with Nick's white nationalism.
Well,
His audience is totally
know.
on board with Nick.
Nick doesn't have a tattoo on his forehead that says white
No,
nationalist.
I understand that, but so the person's point was, even if Destiny is platforming Nick responsibly in the interactions that he is there, what happens when, because Nick and Destiny are talking, other people start talking to Nick who don't have, the responsibility or the intelligence of Destiny? Because I could 100% believe that people from Sneeko's audience are getting sucked into Nick's audience. And then suddenly, Mr. Girl has a fucking argument, if that was a point he had brought up. Suddenly he has a point, because I think that's 100% happening.
Right, but I think the stigma around racism is strong enough that when those people get into Nick's audience and start seeing Nick breaking the taboos around racism, it's going to, make them uncomfortable in the same way.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, maybe not.
I don't know if that's even remotely true. I don't
Well,
know.
this is where you got to do the gut check, and we need
but
better
this is
statistics on this shit.
This is why Sneeko is part of why I completely dislike Sneeko.
Sneeko is literally like a brown person. I mean,
I understand that.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. Sneeko is an NPC, and so all of his points are whatever the mainstream says, I do the opposite of. Okay, that's the message that he's pushing on his audience. Do whatever the opposite of the people tell you to
break
do,
the
right?
taboo.
Okay, so if that's his message, then you're saying, well, they're telling you, the mainstream telling you not to be racist. So I don't know if that's gonna work.
My takeaway from all of this is no one's fucking driving this ship. Okay, no one is
You're
steering
right.
this
You are
ship.
correct.
This
No one
ship
is,
is
Jim.
careening off into who knows where.
Yes.
Who knows what's gonna happen? It's a big mystery. That's why
Yes.
I don't like people that get on these shows and they make these heavy declarations about, if Destiny talks to Nick Fuentes, it's going to be World War III. I don't like that.
That's preposterous. Okay, that's
Yeah.
obviously preposterous. Okay, I want to read two regular chats. Chitachi says, "It's true, Sitch. Before Destiny talked some sense into him, Sneeko wanted 20 wives. Now he only wants 3."
Well, good. He's moderated his goals.
Right. And Not Dead says, he's 22. He doesn't know any better. Also, 12-year-olds should vote. Adam.
Listen, this is Sitch. That's not a good argument, and you should know it.
It's a funny argument.
Well, you should know it's
Wait
not
a minute.
a good argument.
Here's the new emoji. Okay.
Mhm.
It's just text, like late and what about, and it just says listen. How do we not have that? LISSEN. How do we not have we need a listen emoji?
Listen would be a good emoji.
Listen.
Yeah, definitely.
Listen.
First of all, my position is that I want 12-year-olds parents to vote for them. So I've changed my
Okay,
position.
you've changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the adults will be voting, and I don't think we should disenfranchise Americans. I mean, I love Americans. I love America. So I feel like those people should not be disenfranchised. So let's not go off on that.
Okay.
Let's just read super chats. And I think I have a thing today, so we're gonna wrap up a bit early today.
Yes.
So
sorry.
are we just gonna read super chats and then we're just gonna leave the stream up, right?
But we're gonna leave it up on this channel. Yeah.
Right.
We're not gonna do clips of this.
And we're all caught up on our super chats for Sunday. So
Right. Hayden Dill says no BS wasn't white either, so you got a point.
okay. Really?
I don't know what it's pretty.
I
funny.
thought No BS told me he was Jew passing. So
He is Jew passing. That's true. That's true. He's got the Jewfro. That's true. CT, we did steal listen from you. So
really,
that's
crazy.
CT's. I thought it was yours, but then she's like, no, it's mine.
no.
Dr. Diller, thanks so much for the $2. Says Doomer invented cancer for the laughs. Doomer.
Terrible guy.
Doomer, how could you bastard? I cannot believe it. Pinkalo the Driving 8, thanks so much for joining the Free Will Seekers. Mary, thank you for the $10, says, I watched this live. There are some good comedy moments, but Mr. Girl is insufferably bad faith. Basically the entire time, extremely painful. Interesting. I don't agree with Mr. Girl at all, but I didn't perceive his interaction in it as being bad faith. So.
Yeah, somebody else in the comments said Mr. Girl is authenticity, which I mean I disagree with. I don't find Mr. Girl particularly authentic. Mr. Girl does this thing where he makes a very incendiary claim that he knows is going to get your attention, and then you find out that it's not really like a true claim. So specifically, I mean, he's made claims like he's beaten his girlfriend and stuff like that. And then as he's talking, you're realizing, oh, well, it was like consensual spanking contest or something. So he throws it out there as if, his girlfriend got, he got in a fight with his girlfriend. He beat the shit out of her when really it's like something no one would even think twice about. So that's the opposite of authentic.
Calling Nick a terrorist bad faith?
I mean, it does seem a little bad faith, but maybe he believes it.
Well, but even Destiny acknowledges and agrees that if Nick Fuentes had his way, that he probably would genocide, the Jews. Mm-hmm. Even Destiny says that he thinks that that's probably the case. So I don't know. I mean, I guess he's not acting as a terrorist now. So I don't know. It's difficult. Should we before we go? I feel like we have to watch those clips. Those two short.
Sure,
clips.
we can bring them up.
Because it's funny, guys. When we were talking about before the stream, Adam's like, "Well, is Nick a white nationalist, Sitch? I don't know."
Well, now I'm pretty convinced based on these clips. Can I just hit the back button and it'll come up?
I didn't. Oh no, I'm just gonna put him in.
Oh, okay. I hit the back button.
Okay.
So,
So there's two clips. One is Nick Fuentes talking about how he uses irony to hide his beliefs, which is what Mr. Girl was complaining about. And the other one is him being a white nationalist while saying he's not a white nationalist, which is pretty funny.
It's irony because, when it comes to something like Holocaust revision, I mean, this is a subject that you cannot deviate from the popular consensus on. But you also can't, I also think you really can't tell the truth if you adhere to that. So it's sort of like getting in the middle. It's being provocative. It's being... I can't explain this in a very explicit way. You're going to have to just sort of get what I'm saying.
Just get what I'm saying.
When it comes to a lot of these issues, you need a little bit of maneuverability that irony gives you. Oh, well, what does that mean? Well, I was being ironic. Well, I was joking. Well, it's whatever. Well, you don't understand the tone. Well, you don't understand humor.
Okay, so there's the...
Right. So he's basically counseling people to bring up Holocaust denial, and when people obviously go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" to
Right.
just hide behind irony. So I don't
It's a
necessarily.
joke.
How are
It's
you
a
gonna
joke.
look? How are you gonna bring up the Holocaust denial documentary with them and still hide behind it being a joke?
Right.
Oh, I guess you would throw it out there, and if they're not biting, you'd say it was just a joke. But if they are biting, you're like, "Oh yeah, watch it. It'll be great."
See, but this is why it's so funny. And I've said this from the beginning. The wokeness created so many more of the white nationalist types than they fought against, because it made it funny to pretend to be racist, even if you're not racist, because it was such because they would freak out about it. And this is why, in a lot of my early videos, I had all those, anti-Semitic racist jokes because it was funny.
We have
it still
a
can be
lot
funny.
of fucking Hitler jokes in the comic. I mean,
yeah, but that's the problem, is that they literally made it funny. So then it becomes a problem of well, how do you, differentiate between who's joking and who's not actually joking?
I told Sitch he has to put his picture in the comic with a yarmulke on, just so we don't get in any trouble.
Yes. Okay, so here's Nick Fuentes being interviewed by JF, who you don't know, JF, race realist, ethno-nationalist, and he is also talking with Richard Spencer, who I assume everyone knows, face of the alt-right and white nationalist movement for quite some time. This is an old clip, by the way.
Particularly to Nick Fuentes.
It's an old clip. I mean, Nick looks like he's 15.
Yeah. Well, Nick still looks like he's 15, but...
Look at...
On the question of your racial awareness, because I saw some of your tweets today, and you were saying that calling you a white nationalist is a lie, that you don't self-label as this, you don't identify as this. However, you are racially aware. So I was wondering...
Get that, guys? He's woke. He's racially conscious.
He's racially aware, yes.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What is your position on what constitutes your identity and what constitutes the best form of identitarianism that a society can pursue right now?
Sure, that's a great question. I was talking about that earlier today because, of course, there was a big hit piece about me in Right Wing Watch by Jared Holt. We're all a big fan of Jared Holt around here because I attended the American Renaissance Conference this weekend. And the reason I wouldn't call myself a white nationalist, it's not because I don't see the necessity for white people to have a homeland and for white people to have a country.
I'm not calling myself a white nationalist, not because I don't agree with white nationalism.
Right.
Let me just...
It's because I think that kind of terminology is used almost exclusively by the left to defame. And I think the terminology and the labels that we use, I don't think we can look at them outside of the context of of their connotations in America. Whereas maybe it might be descriptive to call somebody a white nationalist. I think it sort of loses something when an average person hears that, and it's almost synonymous with Nazi or villain or whatever. And so I would say I'm a white person. I'm conscious of my white identity, conscious of nationalism. But I think in a way it's almost redundant to say that you're a white nationalist. We know that the word nation almost implicitly talks about ethnicity and biology. If you go back to the history of the word, a nation is not synonymous with country or state. Nation itself means a people. So I think if I call myself a nationalist, it's almost implicit in that word that it's, well, you know, America does have a heritage of being a European country. So that a little bit about the wording, because I know a lot of people would be confused by that, but that's really how I see myself.
Alrighty there.
So pretty on the nose. I only don't call myself a white nationalist because of the optics, even though I completely agree with the entire position of it. So,
Yeah.
but and so the one other thing I wanted to say was, is that part of the problem in the follow-up conversation that Destiny and Mr. Girl has with Abba and Dion. Both Abba and Dion have they don't know this. They're ignorant of Nick's beliefs. And that's the thing.
What
I'm
would
wondering,
you would you do if Nick came out and denounced these clips right now?
Well, I wouldn't believe him.
Okay. That's
But
my
I wouldn't
question.
believe it. He's literally just a couple of days ago talking about ethno-nationalism with Destiny over chicken and waffles.
Right. I didn't watch that, so I don't know. And
Right.
obviously
So-
what you said about like asking the person if he's Jewish and just checking is a little
Right.
I mean, was it funny when he did it, or was he doing it to joke around, or
But as you saw from the first clip, do everything with comedy and irony. Okay.
Yeah,
And so
this
that's what
is-
I'm saying,
I
is
don't
that-
want to live in a world where I have to just
No,
I
but
guess we
here-
live in
okay,
that world.
here's
I
the
got to
problem.
worry about
Let me tell you how you could do it. If he said, you know what, I was young and I was stupid and I was a white nationalist, but now I'm not, and I denounced all that stuff. Okay. And then he just talked about like standard right-wing issues. If that's all he did for some period of time, I would eventually over the course of a year,
Let
be
it
like,
go.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, maybe he's changed. But you can't say, oh, this is all hypothetical because he hasn't done this. But I'm saying you can't say, oh, I used to be a white nationalist, but I'm not anymore. But I'm going to continue making jokes about the white ethno-state and Jewish people. Because then it's like, well, wait a minute. What the fuck? Why would anyone ever believe
Yeah,
you?
you kind of lost your joke privilege when you came out as like a full-blown white nationalist. Yeah.
Right. So, no, but anyway, what I was saying is that part of what makes me wonder, too, is that if Nick is having these conversations with Abba and Dion and all these other people, and they don't even know that he's a white nationalist, they don't even understand it. I don't know. That it makes me wonder if there is. I don't know how to handle the situation because I don't think that I have no problem with Destiny talking to Nick. I enjoy their conversations, but it does worry me if there's all these people running around who don't understand what he's all about because they're, I guess, just ignorant of his positions.
Well, they'll figure it out sooner or later because these clips are
I guess.
around and everyone's gonna like jump on them and stuff.
Right. This is sad. Why don't you claim Lauren Southern want to blow up on my... Justin, what is sad about... I want you to explain exactly, Justin. What is the problem here? With what I just said about it. Are you saying that he's not a white nationalist? Is that your claim? Because I don't know how an honest person could watch the clip we just watched and then still pretend like he's not a white nationalist.
Well,
When he
could-
literally just admitted to doing it.
Well,
Except he just doesn't like the label.
you can't say he literally just admitted it. Okay, this clip
wait,
is
whoa,
like
whoa, whoa,
4 or
He-
5 years
wait,
old. Like,
he literally okay, in the clip I'm talking about.
yes, I
Unless you're
know
gonna
that.
say,
but
yeah,
you're
unless
saying
gonna
he
say that
literally
he's
5
changed-
years ago admitted that he did it. Yeah,
Okay.
which is a different claim. You got to
Okay.
admit it is.
No, hold the phone for a second. Okay, he has done nothing to. He's done nothing. I don't
To
first of all, you're saying
disavow
5
these
years.
clips,
I don't know
yeah.
if this is 5 years ago. This could be 2 years ago. I don't remember the exact time that this happened.
Right.
He's done nothing since then to indicate to anyone that he's changed his positions on any of this stuff. Okay. A white nationalist is a person who believes that America should be a country only for white people, and that all non-white people should be forced to leave the country through force, whether it's being deported or killed or whatever. That's what a white nationalist is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Read some super chats.
I will. I'm still waiting for the answer.
Oh, you want me to read some super chats? I will. Are we reading $20 first and then go back?
No, I'm just reading them in order.
Okay.
Andrew Clark for $5 says, you need to watch Renegade Cuts, quote, when were you radicalized? It has his origin story while being crazy in of itself.
Oh, wow.
Watch the end, if nothing else. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah, thanks. I'll look it up right now.
Right. Interesting. Does it have to be, it doesn't have to be America. Obviously, it could be any country. I'm just talking about in the context of, oh my God, distributors. Are you fucking kidding me?
What happened?
He says, LOL, literally not what he said, Sitch. Not what who said. Are you gonna really come in here and pretend
Oh no.
that Nick is not a white nationalist?
Is that really the distributors?
Yes, it is. Are you gonna come in here and pretend that he's not a white nationalist? In that clip, he's not saying, I believe that there should be a fucking country for white people, but I understand that's a bad label. Is that really what the fuck you're gonna say? Okay. Anyway, I'll let the chat respond and catch up. Christian Baller, thank you so much for being a discipline equals freedom for 6 months. Says Sitch, it's not too late to start jujitsu. I promise it will change your life. Cyborg and I will probably become S-Class again too. It's an amazing community to be part of. I should. Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu's badass.
Jiu-jitsu, it's badass. It seems like a lot of fun. RBGH fan for $5 says, quote, sunlight is the best disinfectant. The ACLU used to defend the KKK, and an organization all but disappeared eventually until the rise of wokeology. Yeah, it's true, and I agree with that sentiment. And it is unfortunate that the ACLU has become so pathetic, I guess, recently. But
yeah, they went from actually defending the freedom of speech of Nazis to being fully woke and in favor of deplatforming everyone. So
Fuentes did not say violently ejecting non-whites. Okay. Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me, distributors? Really? That's what you have? Okay. First of all, are we gonna believe that Richard Spencer, like, whenever Richard Spencer's asked this question, he's like, I don't believe in violently getting rid of the non-white people. We could pay them to leave. And then the question's always, well, okay, but what happens if they don't want to leave? What if you can't pay them? And he's like, well, we'll have to play that by ear. Okay. You're not a stupid person, distributors. I know that you know that Nick and Richard Spencer and people who share that ideology cannot publicly admit that they want to, quote unquote, genocide people or violently deport the Browns. Okay. We all know that he can't say that publicly. So, of course, they're going to say, oh, we're going to find non-violent means to do it. But we also, everyone here knows that if they actually were in power and they had the public on their side and the majority on that side, do we honestly believe for a second that they wouldn't resort to violent means once paying people to leave doesn't work? But first of all, trying to pay black people and non-white people to leave your country is already fucking despicable as it is. Okay.
Hugely despicable, man.
Right. So it's kind of like silly that we even have to argue this, but
they've been here for generations. It's fucking ridiculous.
I know,
they're fucking Americans. They're as much Americans as we're Americans.
Well, and also how we make this white determination. That's what's so insane about this whole shit too. Anyway, it's like 50 years ago, the KKK wouldn't even consider Nick Fuentes fucking white.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a fucking joke. God. Anyway, Calabar for $20 says, over 1.3 million views, 4,000 subs in 7 days, all thanks to super chatting to Sitch and Adam. You too can get these results. Just super chat $200 to Sitch and Adam today. For a refund, please contact Doomer Media on Twitter. Listen.
What's this? $200 for Cullivar here? It says A-Team reigns supreme. Look at that. Look, I still got it in there for you, Cullivar. Congratulations on your channel, by the way.
Okay. Yes, first of all, congratulations. Secondly, thank you, Cullivar, for the ad spot. But no, warning, we will not. There's no guarantee that by sending us we are not preachers preaching the wealth gospel. Okay, super chatting us money.
The prosperity gospel.
The prosperity gospel. Super chatting us money.
But we're
no
not
way,
not preaching the prosperity
well, that's true.
gospel.
Super chatting us money will no way guarantee that anyone gains subs.
Right. I think Cullivar did most of the work on his own. He makes 40K videos that are pretty awesome.
Right.
So,
If you like 40K, check out Cullivar's channel.
yes.
GSP 1005 for $20 says, Adam, is your rent-seeking / innovator an extension of the dominance / competence concept, or is there more at play? Also, have you guys seen the continuation of this posted today? Mr. Girl seemed like an elephant, kind of a shame.
I haven't seen any more of the conversation. I will check it out. I'm interested. Sitch and I might stream a little more later in the week, so maybe we'll check that out. The dominance competence, I hadn't thought of that, but it does really map onto that rather well, doesn't it? Because I do think of rent seeking as kind of subjugating people to some extent. What do you think of that, Sitch?
I'm sorry, what? I was reading the chat.
That's okay.
Oh, the dominance competence thing?
Yeah. We can move on. Not a big deal.
I don't think it's the same. I don't think being a rent seeker. Well, first of all, I don't know. It's difficult because everyone says, "Oh, we don't like rent seekers," but like, I don't have a problem with people owning a house and like renting it to someone. I don't have a problem with that behavior. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
The problem is when the rent seekers, monopolize the market. That's where
right. Yeah. Like if you said some business comes in and buys up all of the houses, I agree with you, sure. But there's a little difference between that and like an individual owning a property, right?
Yeah, of course.
And it does take a lot of work to be someone who
A
owns
landlord,
property
yeah.
and leases out to people. So I wouldn't say it's just like there are some rent seeking type behaviors that someone produces no value whatsoever. I don't understand why a lot of speculation is allowed. Commodity speculation is allowed in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't exactly say it maps directly on dominance competence. I understand what you're saying, like, that these are people that are using sort of power to get money. They're not really doing anything competently, but I don't think it's so simple to say that. I think there's a lot of quote unquote rent seeking behavior that does, even if I think it's immoral, does require competency and intelligence to pull off. I haven't seen the continuation of the Mr. Girl thing today. I only saw the one that I talked about from yesterday or the day before. So,
all right,
Justin, I asked you to explain yourself, and you never did. Okay, you soyed out, Justin. So I don't know why you're still whining in the chat about it. Brain for $20. Thanks so much. Says Max avoids answering questions about agency even when clarified. If you listen, he assigns agency to select actors. No consistency. Only his enemies have agency. He even blames the Cuties creator for making him desire the girls.
Oh, shit.
There you go. His argument was the scene was shot in order to try to make the audience titillated by the underage girl dancing.
Right.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, that is true-ish. Like, that's the way the scene is shot. Now, if you feel that way, maybe that's still a problem at your end.
Oh, God. Can we move on?
When I watched that, I'll say, when I watched that scene, I did not feel titillated.
You feel repulsed.
I felt pretty repulsed.
Yeah.
I felt repulsed and angry. So, okay.
Brain for $5.
Yes.
Max is letting Destiny know that by having Fuentes on Destiny will be held responsible as an enemy. Max is exercising will over Destiny's agency.
Yes.
I don't think Max has really that power. I feel like Destiny's kind of like...
No.
It's funny, they do something... They mentioned something in that stream where they call other people Destiny orbiters, and about halfway through talking about it, they kind of realized that they're also Destiny orbiters, and were like acknowledging that, which I thought, that's good. That's a step in the right direction. So, Destiny creates a cast of characters around him that are very useful. We've talked about this on the show. Sitch and I have, how Mr. Girl is like an amazing new cast member for Destiny because he's so insane that he's a wealth of content for Destiny that, you know, Destiny doesn't have to say insane things anymore. Like Destiny's
Right.
discovered, I don't have to say the insane things. I just have to bring people on that say the
True.
insane things, and
That's
I'm
true.
completely innocent.
Well, you know, you do have to give Mr. Gill some credit in that he's willing to basically sacrifice like a relationship. Let's say what he really believes. I guess he's being authentic. So there you go. At least
Is
that's
he?
something.
I'm not sure.
I don't think this whole arc I don't think helps his profile even slightly. So I would assume this is authentic.
Wait, it does though, because he wouldn't
How?
be like he wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for saying just batshit crazy stuff.
No, but this position that he has with Nick isn't like it's not a crazy thing to say. It's not a batshit crazy.
Oh,
take.
I see what
it's
you're
like
saying.
a very
the
standard
new
like
the new
woke take.
position. Yeah.
Yeah, the Nick Fuentes thing I'm
Right,
talking about. Yeah, all the pedo shit. Yeah, it was crazy.
This is not an insane position for him.
No.
Yeah, I agree. This is the normal position. So
right.
I just
Or I don't want to say normal, the normie position, but
it is the normie position. It totally is. You're gonna create Nazis. Oh my god!
Right,
Ah, the sky is falling. Yeah. Anyway, Kulivov, $20. Oh,
Andrew Clark, thanks so much for joining the Free Will Seekers for 3 months. Says Adam, I can't believe you missed V Radio's analysis error. It seemed to be that he didn't account for the second order observation with corporations and government.
second order observation.
Yes.
Interesting.
Cullivar for $20. Thanks so much, Cullivar. Says, you guys are talking about Cullivar's law. Quote, all politics comes down to, do you trust your fellow man or not? If you don't, then people can be swayed and you fear that. If you do, then you're not concerned about them being swayed. Interesting. All politics comes down to, do you trust your fellow
that is
man?
interesting. So,
Well,
I mean, it does work for me.
I would say part of the issue is it's not a question of whether you trust your fellow man. It's a question of people will trust the people within their tribe. They don't trust the people not within their tribe.
But he's saying trusting the people outside of your tribe is if you trust the people outside of your tribe, you don't worry about them being swayed, which is basically my position. I do trust the people outside my tribe, so I don't worry about them being swayed.
Yeah, right. I guess.
I mean, and just the nut jobs like Nick Fuentes, I can't imagine him getting that kind of institutional power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, being an influencer and actually getting institutional power are like worlds apart.
Right.
And a lot of the influencers that I've seen who try to like run for Congress, like Cenk Uygur tried to run for Congress in Southern California. He got his fucking ass handed to him because the problem that we have is we may look like we have a big audience, but it's spread out all over the world. It's like it's not localized enough for Cenk Uygur to win an election in a district in California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it doesn't translate.
I agree.
Yeah. Danimal
I
the
sent you a
Bruce.
message, by the way.
Danimal the Bruce for $20.
That you can respond via the message
Hell,
instead of talking to me.
I mean, yeah, hell yeah.
Well, you can ask. I mean, I haven't received anything, so it's not like you know what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying yes to your DM. So
Right. Daniel the Bruce.
well, I
For 20
have Dave blocked, so he's not going to reach out to me. But
Okay. Well, Distributus, if you're still there in the chat, if you want to come on to talk about this situation, send me a DM
right,
or something on Twitter.
don't send me a DM because you can't.
Why?
Because I'm blocked. You can't send me a DM.
I'm pretty sure I don't have Distributus blocked.
I can't remember why I blocked him, but it's just funny.
I'm curious. Hey, I'm curious how Distributus feels about the Sandman Netflix special.
I don't know what that is. So
Well, I forgot his Twitter name is Fiddler's Green, which is one of the characters
one
from
of the
Sandman.
characters, yeah.
And considering Sandman had nothing but shoehorned in interracial marriages and gay people,
Oh, he probably
I'm
didn't.
just curious.
He probably. Oh man, maybe that's why he's got that. Maybe he's trying to.
I am
stay hidden.
anti-nationalist. I just don't like inaccuracies. Well, what was inaccurate? What was with that? What was inaccurate?
Kolovar.
It's so weird,
wait.
distributors. We haven't talked in forever, and you came in here for no reason to defend Nick in a bizarre way that's not even accurate. I don't understand what's happening in this situation.
Danimal the Bruce for $20. Is it the YouTubers or pundits in a vacuum that change people's minds, or is it the social aspect of the whole thing and belonging to a community that drives adopting new ideas and worldviews and reinforcing it? See, I would say it's the social thing and the community aspect, but in this day and age, since there is a social aspect and a community aspect to virtually any belief that people want to indulge, there's no reason for them to stick around a white nationalist community when they could find another, the communist communities right around the corner. So if they have any intuitions or inclinations to leave that community, it's not like they're forced to stay because they won't be able to find any other friends.
Mm-hmm.
You disagree, Sitch, or you agree?
No, I think you're right.
So
completely.
this makes the problem even more moot. I mean, I would worry if there's a small town and the only people in the town are white nationalists. Yes, then everyone's going to be a white nationalist, but that's not the situation now. It's not remotely the situation.
Yes. Oh, you had to bring up this amazing artwork.
Oh, I saw it already. Is it
Did you see?
the cleavage one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll bring it up.
Bring it up.
Cinema Sleuth for $10 says.
Cinema Sleuth for
Okay.
$10. Thanks so much. Says, have you guys seen Oliver Stone's Untold History of the U.S. series? I like Oliver Stone and his films, but I feel like the series pushes the Soviets were always scapegoat message. Would you CVR this? I haven't seen it, so I'm unfamiliar with the specifics. I know that Oliver Stone is a gigantic Russia simp. Huge Russia simp. I don't know why, but
Well, he's friends with Putin. That's why.
I guess. I don't know. He's this huge Russia simp. So that wouldn't surprise me if he's like, the Soviets were always the scapegoat. That doesn't surprise me at all. But
So Sitch likes Tifa. That's why he wanted to bring this artwork up. This is Sitch
listen.
trapped in Tifa's cleavage. So
trapped. I mean, can you?
I know.
Can someone be trapped where they want to be?
You're
I mean, come on.
you're exactly right.
Right.
Yeah. Sitch,
So
Sitch willingly enslaved.
So this is made by Body Art on Twitter. Body Art. He does. If you couldn't guess, he does hentai arts mostly. Thank you so much, Body Art. This picture is magnificent.
Did we? Oh,
Just drink it in.
Commander
Drink it
Caleb for $20. Adam, nobody's gut intuition is to be a Nazi. Yes, people can be convinced of things. On the broader point, platforming extremists is how to counter bad ideas, though. Open discourse as opposed to letting them fester uncontested. Well, the problem that I have with that is, and I mean, I do agree to some extent. I feel that the conversation is less about having good arguments and more about presentation. And I don't know if you notice it, but I'm a little bit prone to triggering. So I don't feel like I'm the right person. I mean, a lot of people, we had some disagreements, I think, over race and IQ, and Aiden wanted to do a conversation about it or something. And I was just like, first of all, I don't want to spend my free time reading about race and IQ. I'm just not that interested. And I'm not the person to like find somebody who studies it professionally and can give you some real information on it. So yeah. So that's why I'm not really, I mean, I admire Destiny for what he's trying to do. Sure. If he's trying to, keep racists in check, good. That's a good thing to do. I think calling normal people who despise racism just as much as most people do, Nazis just because they're voted for Trump or are conservatives, I think is bad and will probably make them more racist. So I think the thing that people on the left are doing is awful. Aramis
for $20 says, "What's the difference between a possum and Sitch?"
Mm-hmm.
Sitch is a pause often.
Possum. Oh, okay.
I
get it. Excellent.
Oh. Also said Sitch greater than Adam, which is true.
Sitch is trying to bring some discipline into his life, so we'll see how he does. Brain for $2 says he admitted to being turned on by cuties. Oh, is Brain? Well, I mean, I saw that video and my take on it is Max was joking about that, but the joke was in poor taste and bad for his pro-felicity all the way. So I just, it was in poor taste and stupid. So I just why would you do that?
Right. I didn't interpret that he was joking.
Oh, you thought he was serious?
When he said he was turned on by that scene, I assume he was serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even worse.
I know.
Fuck that guy.
Okay.
That's not the right response.
You are correct, Adam.
Look,
that wasn't the correct response.
Look,
that's why people were like, "What the fuck?"
I couldn't believe Sitch actually watched the movie. Just from the clips that were going around Twitter, I wanted to hurl. It's just awful. What the hell?
My video on that movie is fantastic, and nobody watched it because it was very slow.
I don't know how they got an editor on that movie. I just was like, oh, the editor didn't tell them, oh, by the way, this movie's making me nauseous.
The movie, the woman who directed the movie, she does a lot of artsy. I think this is she does mostly artsy fartsy films. She's inexperienced. She didn't really understand how to tell the story I think she wanted to tell.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Which is that, well, they should have, the only time that they should have showed the girls gyrating or doing anything like that should have been the very end. It cuts away, so you don't actually understand what's happening until the end, and then everyone sees it and is horrified.
Right, but you
the
can
audience
go out
is horrified.
You're not stuck in a movie theater. You can go out and throw up.
Right, but that's the point. The point is you're oh, they're not trying to make you the point is oh shit, these girls have been suckered into doing all this shit because of social media or whatever the message is the movie, it's supposed to be. And then and then the audience that's in the movie both have the same reaction of oh my god, this is horrible, but
yeah,
that's not what the movie did.
Silence You Idiot for $15 says,
I have this feeling Destiny in 3 to 5 months will be forced by Mr. Girl to choose be friends with him or Nick. And Destiny will smugly say, neither of you fucks. And that makes Mr. Girl leave the scene.
Do you think
Maybe.
Mr. Girl is... I mean...
You think he's going to pull one of these, hits him or me?
Look, I'm willing to... we've had Destiny on the show... we have a bunch of people on the show. I'm conscious of the fact that helps our numbers, that looks good for us. I'm willing to play the game to a certain extent.
Right.
But I don't want to make myself a fixture on somebody else's show.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, what happens with all these people is someone will orbit someone who's a bigger person. And they'll get kind of they'll draw the audience away, some audience to them, and then
Vosh did that.
Thing.
Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, it's definitely a successful strategy.
I don't think Mr. Girl is in that position for all the reasons I articulated earlier in the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I literally think Mr. Girl is I think Destiny is content farming Mr. Girl.
Well, no, I mean, it's the same reason Destiny's talking to Nick, talking to Sneeko. They're content farming each other.
Of course, yeah.
With Mr. Girl, I mean, obviously, it seems to me that Destiny sort of re-sparked his YouTube career.
Mr. Girl?
Because I don't think people were super watching super watching him until they start talking to Destiny again.
Well,
For-
I
for
don't
the first
watch
time.
any of his stuff beyond what he does with Destiny.
Well, because
So-
but like before he talked to Destiny, as like a year ago or something. I don't know, when all the cutie stuff was coming out. Like he had the cuties video, he had a BLM video, he had like a bunch of these videos. And I mean, some of them got decent traction, but a lot of them didn't. So
Right. Well, that's cool. I mean, I've heard other YouTubers praise him wildly. So,
right.
you know, I'm not against him, you know, being a successful YouTuber, obviously. So,
Right. You put up the remaining art, and I'll do the super chats.
well, we're almost done, right?
Yeah, sort of. Do the arts. Cameraman 502 for $5 says rip Gorbachev, but Ukraine is on a roll, so let's go. So there you go.
Sweet.
Gorbachev died today. Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh,
there you
wow.
At the age of 91. But yeah, I mean, I've heard that Ukraine is doing well in the conflict, but I don't know. I'm so cynical of all information that comes out regarding that stuff. But yeah, go Ukraine. Drew Dogman for $2 says S-Class is socialism denial class.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Dogman has been sending me DMs about how because Obama said that we need regulation, that means Obama's a socialist.
You're not, listen, like we
Yes.
said,
Yes.
we're not trying to change any minds here, okay? If you want to believe Obama's a socialist, you knock yourself out.
It's just so silly to me.
Well, but
It's
it
so
goes
ridiculous
both.
to me.
Look, it's a two-way street here. You're not going to change our minds. Like I've seen
People,
the evidence.
Wait. Okay. People have changed my minds on many topics. Okay, so someone says, "Oh, here's information." I go, "Oh, you've changed my mind." Okay, I didn't know this piece of information.
Right.
So I can definitely have my mind be changed on lots of things.
Right, but they're
They're saying-
sending you stuff that's not actually information, though. It's
No,
like-
I understand that,
yeah.
but if Drew or someone is sending me a quote that's literally Obama just saying, "Hey, we need regulation because the market can't solve everything," which is literally almost exactly what Jordan Peterson says, and you're going to tell me this is evidence of the fact that Obama's a socialist, I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other argument that he brought forward was that Obama changed one of the hate crime legislations to include sexual orientation, like I think it was like I forget what it was called. You know that gay kid that was killed, Matt something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. Ask me if I care.
Okay, but anyway, his argument was that
No, you didn't ask me.
I know you don't care. Okay. But okay, let me ask you because you're older than me. Okay. Drew's argument.
Do
was
I
that
care?
before-
No.
Drew's argument was that before 2008 or 9 or whenever this law was passed, no one used the word hate crime.
Right.
Now, do you remember people using the word hate crime before 2009?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, what are you talking? I'm like, Drew, what are you talking about?
I mean, I
People-
remember using hate crime back in the 80s.
Yes, and I was like, Drew, first of all, the law that you're talking about, they just added sexual orientation to it. The law, which is called like the fucking hate crime bill or whatever it's called, is from the 80s.
Yeah.
People have been using the term hate crime for decades. I don't know, like for 40 years. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. It's a weird argument. It was a bad argument, Drew. It's a bad argument. Okay.
Sitch and Adam show graphic
Matthew
here,
Shepard. Thank you, Danimal. Yes.
obviously by the IJP Mexican or the LJP Mexican. Damn it.
The I, because it's capital.
Yeah. The
JP
IJP
Mexican.
Mexican.
There you go.
Love it.
That's our new logo. Solo Doge, the redacted 18
Mm-hmm.
says Adam chose to be into tomboy abs just to annoy Distributist. Oh, you're right. See, that must have been what summoned Distributist. It wasn't talking about Nick Fuentes. It was saying tomboy abs just summoned. It summoned him. He's like, there's a disturbance in the ab force somewhere.
Okay. This is pretty cool. Who did this? It's not a comedy show. S-Class. Oh, it looks like Rico Zorro Did it?
Rico Zorro, yes.
All aboard the A station. And
Yeah, it's not a
that's-
comedy show, and Rico's got an S-class member because he knows. Oh, wait, no. He throws in the trash can. Oh, no.
Oh, look at
Because
that.
I said it's not a comedy show. Rico throws his S-class membership away, and he joins the A-team by getting all aboard the A-train. Because it is a comedy show. There you go.
There you go, guys. All aboard.
Terrible. Crack Rock Steady, our favorite supervillain, our favorite Ninja Turtle supervillain. Thank you so much for being a discipline equals freedom for 6 months. Says Adam doesn't care for Mr. Girl. Sitch doesn't care for Sneeko. The only recourse is to have them on. It could very well be a shit show, but it would make for good content. Think about it. Well, here's the problem. I think each of us would be fine talking to the other person, but I literally don't know if I could talk to Sneeko without I don't know if I could have a conversation with him with keeping my elephant in check. I just don't even know if it's possible. And I would talk to Mr. Girl, but I'm pretty sure that Adam can't talk to Mr. Girl to keep his elephant in check.
Well, I mean, I could just. Well, we don't. You could talk to him without me. Sitch doesn't want to.
This is the Sitch and Adam show.
Should I not say?
I don't know. I don't know what you're
Certain
gonna say.
people like.
Uh-oh.
They,
What are you?
well,
happening?
there's someone that I want to talk to that Sitch doesn't want to talk to, but I'm just gonna talk to them on my own because I'm just like I don't care. I'll just.
Who? There's only one person that I said I didn't want to talk to, and then I said, okay, fine, we can talk to them. So I don't know.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Who's the person?
I'm assuming you're talking about Pisco.
No, I'm talking about
I don't know who you're talking about. Then.
Alex Stein 99.
Oh, I don't have a problem with you. I don't want to talk to him because I think he's like boring and dumb and not interesting. I don't want to talk to him because I like
Chat.
don't want to platform
Hold
or
on.
something.
Chat. Do you hear what's happening here?
He's so in all the debates between him. He's so dumb. It's like, have you not been watching?
Our big booty Latina loving bro.
Oh my God.
Is Sitch doesn't.
Okay, listen. This is what I want you to do, Adam. I want you to talk to him on your own channel and tell me. You'll see if the conversation is actually interesting or not. Okay, because I think you might be surprised.
Well, first of all, I mean, okay, yeah, sure.
Okay. So we had in the Discord, some people were playing Champed Up. We have Corn Adam versus Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not Sitch, it's Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And we have, in the other one, we have Corn Adam versus PSA Sith. I'm not sure I get that one. Oh, no, we have Kawaii Corn Adam
Looks like a blast.
versus PSA Sith. So there you go.
Look at that. That's awesome.
Okay, why is CT? Why is it PSA Sith? Well, what's happening? What's going on there?
Who knows? Looks like someone was playing some t-shirt game.
Yeah, we should play that. You like playing Gardic Phone on EFAP. You'd probably like playing this game too, yeah?
Gardic Phone was a blast.
Yes.
Oh my God, it was so much fun.
Oh, wow. CT's like champion of shyness, and she just draws a picture of me. Listen.
Oh, that's so sad.
Listen. Fuck you.
That's so
Okay.
sad.
Don't confuse
That's not
anti-socialness. All right. Speaking of listen, we were playing Champed Up where you have to create shirts. And one of them was listen, and the other one was Adam was right, was a Sitch face.
Adam was right.
Look at all these bastards. They voted for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
See the one person who didn't vote for that.
Who was the one person?
Me. See, it says Sitch votes for Liz.
I didn't understand this, but this is the funniest thing ever. Look at this.
Those are all the people that voted for the winner.
Where do I get that Adam was right shirt? That's fucking awesome. I might have to wear one of those on the show.
You can buy that actually if you want.
I might have to wear that on the show. Yeah. I mean, it is true. Adam was right.
Oh my God.
Can I just change it to Adam is right? Adam is always right. Listen.
The other one.
That's not how you spell listen, CT, by the way.
The other one is You're Finally Awake with the Sitch drilling, which I didn't draw that, but I did the design for that. This is very funny. Then we have Duck with a crown saying touch grass. Then we have Mom says it's my turn on the Xbox. I love that duck drawing. I think Thallium did that duck.
That's a good duck.
And then we have Adam holding a duck saying this got me rejected from art school versus a Bulbasaur saying, look upon my works ye mighty in despair.
I
So
feel
there you
like
go.
I had some new duck pictures. I've been following this Twitter page, You Should Own a Duck, that keeps posting pictures that make me think I should own a duck. I really should.
Mm,
And I thought I saved some, but I can't find them now, so we're out of luck.
right. See, you should get a shirt that says Adam is always right and a shirt that says Sitch is always right, and you can change them depending on the conversation.
That's a good idea. Or I could just not only wear one. I could just only get the one that says Adam is right.
JMac for $20 says Nick Fuentes admitted to being against biracial marriages in debate. Yes, he admits that frequently. I think when he was talking to ABBA or some other person, he said interracial marriages were degenerate or something.
Do
He
you
and
really?
Carl,
I mean, who gives a fuck what he thinks? I don't understand why. Do you think? Listen, we have a Bill of Rights and equal protection under the law and all that stuff because
Right.
even if a majority of people, and there was a time when a majority of people were against interracial marriage, like even if that came back, they couldn't pass laws for that. It would literally break the law. It'd be against the Constitution. The Supreme Court would overrule it.
you would hope.
Yeah. Well, I guess, but we're so far away from even. I mean, what does 5% of the country, 15% of the country, like, how much of the country is against interracial marriage? It's got to be
I don't know.
like a giant low right now.
I assume it was a low amount, yes.
It's probably like 51% of the country is against interpolitical marriages.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He and Carl were on the same side of a debate, and Carl strongly disavowed. That was my first exposure to Fuentes. You talking about the Destiny and Hassan versus Carl and Nick debate? Yes. Broken Gamer, thanks so much for the $5. Says Sitch, I think you're completely wrong on this. Max acted in bad faith a lot in this conversation, and Abin and Gideon do know enough about Nick's views. I don't know. They didn't seem in the conversation that they had with Destiny and Nissa Girl. I don't know. I didn't hear their conversation with Nick, but it seemed like they didn't really understand his views. Because he even said like, "Oh, we were trying to figure out like his, how deep the rabbit hole goes," or I forget what he said exactly. So I don't know. They didn't seem like they really understood exactly what Nick was wanted, and I'm pretty sure when Mr. Girl said that he was in favor of white nationalism, that they both seemed surprised by that and said, "Well, we didn't know that," or something. So,
Oh, wow.
and they both just became very, especially Abba. It was very annoying because even if I would agree that they shouldn't censor Nick, they became just so defensive for like they couldn't actually like engage with whatever the conversation was. They just became so defensive over like the term Nazi, like just pure elephant. It was so ridiculous. But anyways. Yes, Carl did a debate where him and Nick were on the same side versus Destiny and Hassan. But Carl wanted to make very clear in the debate that he and Nick did not hold the same position. So I should probably phrase that a little bit better. So, and it wasn't, I mean, Carl didn't take any like pro ethno-nationalist stances or anything in that conversation. We watched it on stream, I think.
That must have been forever ago.
Yes. It was a long time ago. Michael, thanks so much for being a free will seeker for 2 months. Says conversations aren't harmful, even if it's with the wrong kind of person. The harm can't be calculated, and either side might be swayed by the other. Yeah, sure. Joe the Meg, thanks so much for being a free will seeker for 6 months. Says this debacle shows just how insidious the quote discourse is. The goal isn't moving extremists to center; it's removing them is the only option. Yeah, that's definitely some people's opinion. Why am I smoking a cigar?
Come on, I'm trying to I edited your avatar a little bit. Looks pretty
Okay.
cool, huh?
I should start a new poll. Okay, so obviously the majority of people said YouTubers and pundits can change minds, right?
Yeah.
So the new poll is this.
What super chat are we on? Drew Cox for $20.
Drew Cox, thank you so much for the $20.
Well, I'll read.
Says
You do the poll. Oh, you already did
I already
the poll.
did it.
Look at that.
Said this is the problem with labels in general. Can you be an advocate for an ethno-state where the state is made for and by people of a certain ethnicity, such as Israel, without advocating for the genocide of others? Well, it kind of depends on the situation. So, well, first of all, Israel is an ethno-state. It's like a religious state, I guess. But I understand your point. Same thing, like, you know, people bring this up with Japan a lot too, and all this other stuff. And you know, I don't have a super strong problem. Israel's a little bit stickier because of how Israel was created, and everything that went along with it. So, and Israel kind of gets a pass because of the Holocaust. So let's use Japan. I think Japan's a better example. I don't have a problem with a country like Japan if the people of the country say, "Hey, you know, we don't want to have like." You know, foreigners live in our country permanently or something. Okay, if that's the people that live there don't want that, then okay, fine, whatever. Now I think that's probably going to hurt Japan in the long run. I mean, Japan's demographics are fucking plummeting right now.
Yeah, they
having all sorts
need
of problems.
some immigration.
Right.
They got to get some new blood in there.
Right. So I'm not sure how that's going to manifest for Japan. So yeah, I don't have a problem with the country doing that. The issue is that doesn't work with America at all.
No. Yeah.
Because America is a country that was not, unlike Japan, unlike a lot of other European countries, doesn't have that history. America started as a country of immigrants.
A nation of immigrants, yeah.
America started as a nation of immigrants displacing the native population.
Exactly.
Well,
they didn't have a nation, so.
Right.
We were like, hey, if you guys want to immigrate to where you already live.
Exactly. And
actually, it's worse than that. We made them immigrate to somewhere else.
It started as a nation of immigrants that displaced the native population and forcefully brought over like a bunch of black people and enslaved them. Okay.
Right.
So for like all these reasons, America does not have this like, oh, where there's like, it's a reason why we don't say like, oh, there's like an American ethnicity. Because there really isn't, because Americans are from all over the place. They're from all over the world and from all over Europe.
Americans come in all colors.
Right. And that's sort of been America's guiding, you know, ethos for so long now, has been that America is this sort of, you know, an idea. Anyone can leave their country and become American. Mm-hmm. And so does that idea of like work with other countries? Yes. It can't, or rather it can work with other countries. Does that idea work with America? No, not at all. Not even remotely works with America. So,
well, it's a social taboo to even talk about it in America. So,
right.
I'm sure it's not a social taboo in Japan because it doesn't need to be, because they don't even know, they never talk about it. Like, it's not really a thing.
White people financed and shipped this. The whole like, did you know that it was really the Jews that did the slave trade? That's literally all lies. I don't know if you understand. If you look into any of that stuff, it's literally just like smoke and mirrors. Mm-hmm. I went down that rabbit hole once, and it was like the dumbest conspiracy I've ever seen.
I mean, wasn't really enough Jews to sustain the slave trade.
It's one of the dumbest, like mind rottiest fucking claims.
But it doesn't even really seem plausible on the face of it.
I know. Yeah. Equa Shadox for $2 says Sitch is Team Tifa. I'm sorry. Sitch is Team Tifa, which makes S-Class best class.
Okay.
Thank you. Atheist Icon says it was the Dutch. There you go. He got me. You got me, Atheist
Might have
Icon.
been the Dutch.
Fucking Dutch.
Right.
Drew Cox, thanks so much for the $10, says when people use the term, quote, white nationalist, it's a slur. So people automatically jump to the most objectionable definition. I'm black, not white nationalist. Just think that the white nationalist Nazi thing is cringe. Yeah, but Drew, I agree with you that the term Nazi has been so like murdered. It's been so overused that it's basically worthless. But you do need a term to describe a thing. I do not agree with you whatsoever about white nationalists. I very rarely hear people call anyone a white nationalist at all. On Twitter, on YouTube. That's not, they call people a Nazi, they call them a fascist. They don't call them white nationalists. So I disagree. I think that term is still valid and it still signifies something specific. And when you say like the most objectionable definition, like I don't know. I don't know what that means. The most objectionable definition is a person who believes that that America, if you're American, obviously, like Nick, believe that America should be a white ethno state. So,
Is Nick American? I feel
I
like he's
assume.
not really.
I don't know. Is he Canadian? I don't know. Drew for $10 says you've changed the argument. It's about assuming that white nationalists automatically want to kill blacks and Jews, not that it will work here. I don't know. It's so weird. I don't get this, Drew. You and distributors, and I literally don't understand this like weird hang up about this. Like, well, they're not saying they want to kill the people. It's like, well, okay, Drew, do you honestly, in your heart of hearts, believe that if Nick Fuentes and Richard Spencer had like the majority of the population on their side, okay, if 75% of Americans were on board with Richard Spencer and Nick Fuentes, do you honestly think that after they try to quote unquote pay black people to leave America, that the ones that don't want to leave, they wouldn't remove violently by force or kill? Do you
They're not
honestly think that?
Look, if they have that many people on their side, they're not paying the people.
I know, but that's why this is so silly to me. This is such a silly distinction. Like, what is happening here?
I mean, have they signed the non-aggression principle or something and we don't know about it?
Now, maybe there's some confusion. I'm not saying I think Nick wants to go around the world removing non-white people from it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he would obviously be fine with using force to remove, these people from power. Like, it's just like the fucking the far leftist types where they're like, oh, listen, I don't want to like kill landlords or take people's private property. I just want to do like all these other totally acceptable. I want to do these, minor things. And you're like, really? Does anyone think of Vosh or Hassan or any of these or Renegade Cuck? If any of these people were in power, do you think that they wouldn't use violence to enact their ends? Like, it's just
Renegade Cuck is totally using
it's
violence.
ridiculous to me. If you guys don't think that, then you're just naive. I don't know. I guess I don't know what else to say.
Hassan Piker uses violence in his chat every day.
Right. It's very silly to me.
So Beck for $5 says it felt so cathartic to watch ABBA destroy Mr. Girl as patronizing and self-important. Valuing his ego over actual impact. I got to admit, I love that super chat, and now I can't wait to watch it.
Well, it's interesting because even though this is why this conversation is so weird to me. I completely disagree with Mr. Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard ABBA talk with Destiny before, and I've liked what ABBA said. I think ABBA in that conversation with Mr. Girl was terrible.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. Now, you probably won't think that because what Sobek described is exactly how people interpret that conversation.
Really?
Because Mr. Girl's saying all these incendiary like things. He keeps saying like Nick is a Nazi who wants to kill him and all this other like, very hyperbolic claims, things of that nature. But ABBA is not actually engaging in the conversation at all in a way like he's not engaging with the ideas of the conversation. So I don't know. I interpreted the conversation very differently. Broken Gamer, thanks so much for the $2. Says I could explain better in voice. Trust they know. Explain what? What are we?
I don't know. Maybe he wants to come on.
Okay. I don't know. I dropped the vid in your DMs. If you really, I don't see anything in my DMs.
No, he sent it to me. I got it.
Oh, who? Pinkalo sent you something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What did he send you?
The ABBA and Peach video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to watch, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Sobek for another $5 says, I want tomboy abs and volleyball player thighs. There you go.
Pretty cool, yeah.
There
You
go.
want to have them personally, or you want to like date a nice fit girl that has them? Either
Like,
way is totally acceptable.
He wants them to be, near and on him, not part of his body. Okay.
No, I'm with you. That's great.
Right.
I like those volleyball player thighs myself. So
Dr. Diller for $2 says, I highly doubt someone who willingly tunes into watching Destiny is ever going to hear a Nick Fuentes argument and think, well, now I guess I'm a white nationalist now. Especially if any such argument is argued against by Destiny. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
well, the whole point of social taboos is just to give you that kind of cringe feeling. Most people can never get past that cringe feeling. Those of us that can and start looking into the evidence, I mean, the evidence isn't there either. So,
Right.
yeah.
Dr. Diller for another $1 says, in general, I believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant, and the idea that platforming someone, especially to argue with them, strikes me as bafflingly stupid and completely removed from reality.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Andrew Clark for $1 says, is January 6th the worst thing ever to the left because that is the power they see in their own protest, or because the right doesn't usually protest?
I think they're just
Interesting
making
question.
hay over just because they know they'll score political points about it. But, well, no, they probably believe it. They probably think tragedy almost unfolded. They got to work
Yeah, I
through
don't
reality,
think
though.
I don't think they see it that way, Andrew. It's a very interesting question. I don't think they perceive it that way at all, or even aware of perceiving it that way. So, interesting. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Dr. Diller for $3 says, if you cover Renegade Cut, if you cover Renegade Cut, and then Vosh covers your coverage, thereby exposing people to someone who might potentially be even more crazy, does that mean you have to stop covering lesser known nut jobs? Or can we assume that it's an unlikely occurrence that holding people accountable for platforming, even in the context of disagreeing with them, is stupid and makes it completely impossible to debate people? I assume this is in relation to, Sneeko and Nick Fuentes hooking up. You are correct. You are correct. And I'm not saying Destiny shouldn't platform Nick because of that. But it does add this like weird element to the equation that I don't know how exactly I feel about. Well, no, I know how I feel about it. I don't like it. I don't know how exactly what, if anything, should or could be done about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want as bad, I don't want Sneeko's, 12-year-old audience to become radicalized further into being, white nationalists by Nick Fuentes or something.
Yeah, they might want 50 wives soon. Who knows?
I don't like that.
Wait a
Honestly,
second.
I don't like that.
What if Nick convinces Sneeko's audience that they only want one wife, a good Christian wife?
Well, that's what's funny is because Sneeko is not remote. Sneeko is not only not red pilled, he's like literally not even remotely conservative.
Oh, of course. Yeah, he's.
It's weird. This is like Nick is way
it?
more conservative than Sneeko.
Is polygyny
Nick is actually
conservative? That's the question.
Is it who?
Is polygyny conservative?
Wow, that's an excellent question.
Yeah.
Not by American standards, it's not.
Right.
That kind of goes into when we talk about what is conservative versus liberal, and you say when something becomes, like being anti-polygamy was the liberal position.
Yeah.
But then it becomes the tradition for so long that it becomes conservative.
It's true. Yeah. Perfect example.
Interesting.
Broken
But
Gamer
yeah, I mean,
for $5.
I was going to say, I want to be clear. I don't think Destiny should not talk to Nick because of a potential, Nick being involved with Sneeko or other communities. But it is just something to be cognizant of. So.
Yeah. Broken Gamer for $5. Abba wasn't arguing against Max specifically, but more against Max's ridiculous assertions in that combo. Max's points were not well grounded.
Yeah, his points about Nick being, as bad as Nick is. His points about Mr. Girl allowed the conversation to be framed in the. Dion asked him, "What do you think the worst case scenario is?" And then Max says the worst case scenario is Nick Fuentes becomes president and tries to kill Jews or something. And then they spend the rest of the conversation arguing that point.
That's so pointless.
But it was pointless because Max keeps saying, I don't think that that's likely. You asked me what's the worst case scenario. And then he got stuck in that point.
Well,
what he should have done was said, what
the
I think
worst
is
case
the most
scenario
likely,
that's plausible.
Right. You should say what I think is the likely scenario.
Yeah.
This is what Mr. Grill should say. It's not what I'm saying. But Mr. Grill should have said what I think is the likely scenario is that, some amount of people will well, I guess where you could give Mr. Grill a lot of harshness for it, which I agree with. He was using Mr. Grill was 100% using very, very incendiary language in that conversation. That was stupid. Like he told Abba and Dion, like the next time, there's a supermarket shooting, like the blood's gonna be on your hands or something.
Oh my!
It's just like a fucking crazy thing to say.
Fucking.
He's
going full Vosh.
He was going very extreme in that conversation. So I bet, definitely crap on him for saying shit like that too.
Broken Gamer for $2 says, if you want me to come on and explain more, I can. Well, we're wrapping up shop, but maybe if we stream later, you can come on.
Right.
Send me a DM. Have you sent me a DM? Let me know.
Send him a DM. Amy Officer, thanks so much for the $3. Says, hey, longtime listener, have to keep my name anonymous for obvious reasons. To answer the stream question, I was literally teaching ROTC candidates today, and one of them no shit asked me, why did 9/11 lead to the invasion of Afghanistan? I was initially shocked because I thought the Al-Qaeda-Taliban relationship was common knowledge, but then I realized most college kids these days weren't even alive when the towers fell, and that the bin Laden raid happened when they were 10 or 11. They were never part of the national conversation about Al-Qaeda. No one talked about Al-Qaeda when they were forming political beliefs, so I can totally see Vosh types twisting their viewers into thinking that the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan was evil U.S., was all evil U.S., not to mention older events. That's interesting. That's really fascinating. Wow.
I hope you straightened them out.
Yeah, I'm assuming they did.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for saying that. Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. How, most kids. I mean, that's what's ridiculous too about Sneeko talking about 9/11. Like, I was like, was he even alive? He believed the 9/11 conspiracy stuff. I'm like, is this fucking guy even alive?
Oh, I know. He's a 9/11 truther. Hilarious.
Yeah, he's a fucking 9/11 truther. He was like fucking, a sperm. He was fucking in diapers when the towers fell. And he's like, no, I know the truth about 9/11. I'm like, okay, Jesus Christ. It's like, really? And yeah, I mean, it's the same thing about, I didn't even think about that. They might not understand the Al-Qaeda-Taliban relationship or anything. That it was common knowledge. Yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking.
Yeah.
CT for $1 says, I told Adam earlier was going to annoy you guys. The time has come. There's no such thing as a new mirror. Every mirror is a used mirror, all of them. Think about it. Adam publicly called Blepp and Harker out for not debating you about the hero's journey.
Well, they want to come on and debate us on that. I guess it's going to be a 3v1 because Sitch is he's in the girl boss camp. So
that's right. That's right. Listen, girl squad all the way. Listen, Blepp and Harker, you guys want to come on and debate Adam on the hero's journey? I'll back you up, okay? It'll be a 3v1. It'll be a 3v1 later.
It'll be perfect. You guys will be my harem. I can't wait.
Really, Adam? You want me to be in your harem?
It's going to be a lot of fun.
You guys heard it here first.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I mean, it's common. It's common to have male eunuchs in the harem.
There it is. Nice save.
I mean, this is how a lot of
right. Look at him. He's trying to walk it back.
Back in the ancient.
He's trying to walk it back.
Back in the ancient Chinese Empire, a lot of families would, they would cut the nuts off their sons so that they could get into politics.
That was a Chinese thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys heard it here first. I'm trying to walk it back. He originally let it slip. He wants me in his harem. And now he's like, oh, no, I meant as a guard, Sitch. No. That's what I mean. I didn't want you to hold my head tenderly in your arms and to stroke me while
walk it back. What are you talking about?
A team is best team.
It was you were always going to be the eunuch guard. What are you talking about? Walk it back.
Look at this mop and bucketing. I'm being mop and bucketed.
That was
by
always the plan.
Okay. Whatever. That's
This
what you
is
said last night. Dr. Diller for $1 says the distributors over here be like, "Hey guys,
Oh
I
no.
don't know how to say this word. Mephistopheles, Mephistopheles, Mr. Mephisto, Mephisto. You know, the guy from Diablo.
Sure.
Here is offering some pretty good deals. He says some funny things like the price of your soul, but the guy's just giving out money." That was very bizarre, distributors. It was a very weird time for you to come in. That's all I'm going to say. Zoldoge for $1 says, short stream, it means short read. This week's book recommendation is research article published University of Chicago that analyzes autocratic countries' stated GDP to real metrics and shows they overestimate by as much as 30%. I sent Sitch the link if he could post it. Did you send me the link? I see no links. I see no links! You didn't send me shit. I don't see it. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. Okay. I didn't recognize your Twitter handle. Okay, I'll put in the chat. Boom. So there's a link to a Twitter post. This is an interesting... It's about how much should we trust a dictator's GDP growth estimates. So there you go. That sounds like a study Adam would be interested in.
Of course, yeah. I can already tell you it's like none. You shouldn't trust it at all. What the hell?
Dr. Diller for $1 says, behold the Dave model. If I like you, best possible interpretation. If I dislike you, worst possible interpretation. Simple as.
That's the human nature model. That's not just the Dave
true.
model. That's
true.
Generally how everybody does it. So that's why when you're saying Dave is really smart, I'm like, is he? I mean, is he?
Wow.
Well, I don't think he's even trying to see past his own biases.
Okay.
So
it's my mother, Sitch's mom, for $1. Mom, how many times I gotta tell you, you don't need to donate to the stream, okay? You giving me life is donation enough. But thank you.
Sure.
My mom for $1 says, Sitch, I'm here to answer the real JQ. Adam, I'm coming to find you in Los Angeles at your house in real life. I'm going to stalk you and become obsessed with you and wear your makeup and clothes. I'll wear your A-team in accordance with like ancient Jewish tradition.
Okay, Sam Hyde. I hear where we're going. Come on over. Look, first of all, you're welcome to come over to my house. I'll bake you fucking cookies, okay? I'm so
show your mantis collection.
I'm so thankful that you've created my future harem eunuch. Sitch has been an enriching part of my life, and I can't wait to welcome him to the family. So
there you go. Potato for $5. Thanks so much. My favorite surrogate uncle, Potato. Academic Agent. There you go. Our good friend, Academic Agent, for $1. Says, Adam, you absolute snake. There's no reason for me to act crazy or whatever nonsense to help you guys. I'm just trying to get Sitch's attention, but he always ignores me and instead streams with you instead of me, is what I would say if I liked him.
okay. Nice try, Quack.
Nice try. From our resident Suendere.
Suendere.
I'm gonna say it wrong, just to piss everyone off. Solo Doge, thanks so much for $1 says, in a move that totally not aggravate conservatives, Netflix is releasing a movie called Athena about Arab and African refugees enacting civil war against French government after a police altercation death. It's a conspiracy, but also let's make movies about it.
Oh, that sucks.
That's so weird. Why would they do that? I'll have to check that out. Maybe we'll watch that and do a review on it.
Sure.
Oh my God. Do you know who just sent us $1?
Who?
Former president of the United States.
Oh, Barack Obama? Wow.
Barack Obama.
He
for
said,
$1.
He said, I'm a socialist.
For $1. He said, now listen here. I'm not a socialist. And if anyone says that I am, then you know what to tell them. All they need is a fresh glass of water from Flint. That'll sort them out.
Oh, shit. Okay, that's good. That's
Good
good.
joke. It's a good
Yeah.
joke.
Excellent.
Dill's Elephant Nationalist for $1 says, hey, Adam, listen. Last Sunday, you sounded hurt when I called your team a binky butt plug. So I am sorry. Wait, apologize? No! Can you change my mind? No, you cannot! Ask me if I care? No! Listen, S-Class is exceptional. A-Team is special.
You first of all, I'm not
Like a
ask-
special ed, like special needs?
Look,
A-Team is special needs?
I would never commit the ultimate cringe to ask for an apology. Okay, you did nothing wrong. You don't owe me an apology.
go.
So
There you go. Andrew Clark for $1 says, I'm 90% certain that Mahler's second most important story element is characters. He praises TV shows and movies that he loves for their characters the most by a wide
well,
margin.
thank you, Andrew Clark. Thank you so much for letting us know, because I am curious about that, and Mahler was not very forthcoming. But
Right.
someone, you watch a lot of EFAP, so I'll take your word for it. But that's good to know. Yeah, character is very important.
The Justice 35, thanks so much for joining the Free Will Seekers. Broken Gamer for $2 says, Adam, I messaged you. Great show as always, guys. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Death by Sloth, thanks so much for being a Free Will Seeker for 6 months, says, do either of you have a favorite Western comic series? Or even just a favorite author and or artist? I need more comics, but I don't really dig the manga.
Yeah, I don't really have one. So, do you have a favorite Western comics?
I liked Ultimate Spider-Man before they kill off Peter Parker.
Mhm.
I liked Ultimate Spider-Man a lot before they killed off Peter. I think Sandman is probably good. Most people like Sandman. I agree. Sandman's a good Western comic. I don't know, because I don't read like a super lot of Western comics.
Yeah.
I read a bunch of superhero comics, but they all kind of blend together in my mind, and I don't remember like which one is which. Watchmen, of course. Chat says classic. If you haven't read Watchmen.
Oh yeah, I've read Watchmen. Sin City is pretty amazing, but
Sin City, classic one, yeah.
I have the Sin City books.
Right.
Sin City's just,
I can't think of other ones. Let me out here, chat. What are other great
the dialogue is so good in Sin City.
Western comics? How can you not like? There's so many different types of manga. I don't understand how could you not like the whole genre?
What's the chainsaw head thing? That looks pretty amazing.
Chainsaw, that's what it is. Yeah.
I love that stuff. That's such a great character ploy. Yeah, the
I've
dude's
never read
head's a
Chainsaw yet,
chainsaw.
Right.
Well,
I
I'm
can't
fascinated just by the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Are we done with Streamlabs? Or
Preacher's kind of mixed. Kind of mixed on Preacher. I like Preacher and I don't like Preacher at the same time. So I do not recommend The Boys. I do not recommend the worst comic.
What about Invincible? I mean, the
I've never read
show
the
is
Invincible
great.
comic, so
I would check out the comic, see if it's easily as good.
I'll give you this: the worst comic I've ever read is called Wanted. Don't read the comic of the bait. They had that terrible movie. Did you ever see Wanted, the movie?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was gonna say that the movie Wanted, for as bad as it is better than the shit comic. That's how bad the comic is. So.
Do you like the artist Phil Noto? I think he's a giant SJW, but I really like his artwork.
No.
No, you don't like it, or you don't know it?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, okay. I guess I asked if you know. Die Genius for $10 says, I love when the people who stake their whole life into an extreme ideology. Oh, shit. with a burning hatred of impartiality say, "You're just blinded by your liberal bias."
Yeah.
Wait a second. Is this aimed at me?
No. He's saying that like Sneeko and Nick and people like that, they have this like very extreme
Yes.
ideology.
Yeah, you're right.
And then they're like,
right.
"You're just blinded by liberal bias." You're like, "Okay, buddy, listen."
Yeah.
Right.
He's just blinded by his anti-establishment bias.
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and how's he any different than Vosh then? The guy who
Right.
he's supposed to be diametrically opposed from politically, he's actually forced to have all the same opinions.
Mm-hmm. Taylor Sharp, thanks so much for the $5. Says, "You guys saved me from the alt-right pipeline." Well, there you go, Adam. We changed
Really?
someone's mind. Yes, there you go. Thank you, Taylor. Says, "Well, Sitch did anyway. Adam makes me want to go ultra MAGA."
So you didn't finish reading.
Oh no, he says ultra manga. So maybe you want to make him really read manga. S class is to best class. Sopranos for life. There you go.
I love it.
I gotta actually watch Sopranos one of these days.
I feel like Taylor might have been joking with us, which I dig.
No. That's what do you mean? Why do you say that?
Our audience is too smart to fall into the alt-right pipeline. I mean,
Yeah,
does our
now-
audience even think the alt-right pipeline exists? We've done so many videos on.
It's just a figure of speech, Adam.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen to this guy. Look.
Remember when we asked?
You're welcome, Taylor. And thank
Yeah,
you.
no. If you're sincere, you're welcome. If it's a joke, equally, thank you. It's hilarious.
I'm gonna pretend like it's not, even if it is.
Caleb Kane. Remember when we asked Caleb Kane if he was trans?
Yeah.
That's
No,
That's
I
pretty
don't
funny.
remember. Liam asks, "Thanks so much for being a free seeker for 3 months." Says, "When Adam finishes the comic, I'll be happier than one of the endings he gets every Monday." Looking forward to it.
So am I, bro. My massage on Monday was excellent this week. She did a very good job.
Good.
I didn't bring up the happy ending. Sometimes I'm
Sometimes what?
How do you do that? Should I like write in magic marker on my back happy ending ? And just like when I take my shirt off? What do you think?
No, what you should do is you should write like numbers on your back.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "What are these numbers?" You're like, "Oh, it's a code. You have to decode it to figure out the special secret message."
Okay.
And it spells out happy ending. There you go.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
The Justice 35 for $10 says,
Love you guys. Wondering if the Discord is public. Yes, the Discord is public. There's 2 Discords. CT runs one of them. I don't know who runs the other one.
Caleb Black runs the other one currently.
Caleb
so,
Black does.
Yeah.
CT wants to drop a link to the Discord in the chat. You can join, Justice.
Yes, and I think I think there's links to the other Discord in there too. So we have like one Discord is, I think, rowdier than the other Discord. So it's really it's kind of your aesthetic. So
Right.
yeah.
CT says, "Is your wife going to be the one to write it on your back, Adam?"
But definitely not. Yeah, that would be a tough ask. Hey, honey, I'm going to get my massage. Will you write something on my back for me?
J-Max says,
she would not be happy about that.
J-Max says, "I usually shave a penis into my back hair if I'm requesting one."
Well, hold on. Dr. Diddler's giving me a hard time about the... I don't want to mischaracterize. Look, I don't hang out in the Discords a lot, so usually when I come in there, it's very exciting for people because I never do.
Right.
But I'm under the impression. I mean, I saw. I mean, Danimal is a mod in there. Nathan is a mod in there. I don't think I know Caleb Black, but I mean, I saw they had like a blood sports channel, which I don't think CT is down with blood sports and the one. So I mean, I'm not a good guy for the lay of the land. I don't want to mischaracterize.
They
the
were just
Discords.
messing with you.
Oh,
by the
okay.
way.
Diddler always gets me.
I know, he always gets you.
The fuck. But I do think like Dr. Diddler's in there. So yeah, they like to yell at each other on the internet, which I completely condone.
Justice continues saying,
Oh.
also, Adam, you should check out, quote, The Sleepwalkers.
This
about
is-
how world.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Are you in the middle of a super chat? I guess you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Adam, you should check out The Sleepwalkers about how
World War One got kicked off. It's super dense and super nuanced. I think A-Team will appreciate it.
Cool. Sleepwalkers.
Is it a book? It's a book.
manga?
The Sleepwalkers: How Europe Went to War in 1914.
I'll check it out.
There you go.
Caleb Black works for Freedom Tunes. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, doesn't he? He draws. The
Wow,
film, I think.
that's awesome. That's totally
Yeah.
awesome. Sweet.
Oh, Adam, you won't believe this.
Mhm.
We've received another donation
Uh-oh.
from another former president,
Oh, no.
one Mr. Donald Trump.
Oh. Oh, awesome.
I can't believe I can't do a good Trump. I can't believe the no good Obama is still slinking around. He's like a snake, you know, the way he left me the office. You wouldn't believe it, folks. He's a socialist and he doesn't tip his waiters. Thank
Okay.
you, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
There you go. You found out Obama doesn't tip. That's a very socialist move. You know what? I wasn't convinced about the need for regulating businesses, but if you tell me someone doesn't tip, that makes me think maybe they're socialists. I think that's convinced me.
What happened to spread the wealth around, Obama?
I know. What a hypocrite.
Not doing it yourself.
Potato for $5 says, I started film school last week, and we were told on day 2 that the most important thing in a movie is
I'm gonna. Do you want me to guess?
conflict.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
good. I was worried you were gonna say activism.
No. That's
Okay.
hilarious, Potato.
Thank goodness.
That's so funny. Well, first of all, hope you have fun in film school. But yeah, no, I mean, that's part of where, you know, me and Adam get our opinion from this on is that is the way of, you know, traditional screenwriting thinking is that conflict is the most important thing. So
Yeah, that's what I keep. That's what I keep saying. I mean, I don't think when people were arguing with me about it, I wanted to make it clear. Look, you guys can have whatever opinion you want, but if you show up in film school, if you show up in creative writing class, the first thing they're going to tell you is conflict drives the story. That's the whole point of the story. Yeah. Yeah. It's literally called drama. Where do you think the term drama comes from? You know, when people are talking about YouTube drama, what do you think? Why would they use the word drama?
Right. That's a good point. Dr. Diller for $1 says, Adam, I have some bad news. I just got word from every single person who bought the comic and God himself.
Oh, no.
First of all, how dare you say God himself instead of herself? Secondly, and nobody likes the particular ways you drew lines, so you're going to have to redo the entire comic. Sorry.
Really? God, that is sad.
That's pretty rough.
I mean, you guys have seen the sample work that's on the... I mean, I'm trying to do way better than what's actually on the campaign, so...
Yes.
You guys are going to love the comic. Well, I did a poll. Here, I'll look for the poll. You read the other
That's
super
it.
chats. That's it? Okay, we're almost done here. I'll just find the poll real quick. Or do you have any closing thoughts before we close up?
No.
I did a poll on the Twitters. Granted, I don't know how many people who actually backed the comic participated in this poll, but it did make me feel a little bit better because the comic is so damn late. But I asked honest question for my... Here, I'll bring it up. I think I can put it on the screen even. Honest question for my Comicsgate friends. Everyone wants labor-intensive, high-detail books with a fast delivery. If that's not possible, which is a better option? Labor-intensive, high-detail books with a slow delivery time or low-detail books with a fast delivery time? And 88.3% out of 333 votes was high-detail, slow delivery. Only 11.7% for low detail and fast delivery. So That kind of puts us in a situation. I mean, I would honestly like it if this was reversed, and I could just crank out books, fast and funny and low detail. But I mean, people are really buying a comic for the art, so that's an important aspect of it. So, but that's okay. We're working on book 2. Sitch and I both have already outlined the story. We're working on getting the story to another artist, Richard Conley, who I've worked with a little bit on some pages and some ideas, and it looks like he might be able to do the book for us. So, how important is it for me? It's an open question. How important? You can let us know in the comments below how important it is to have old Adam actually doing the artwork for the book. I mean, if it was me,
it looks good. That's all anyone cares.
If it was me, well, I mean, I've been in books and shit. Like, I've had artwork in the New York Times. So, like,
wow, look at you.
You didn't know that? I mean, I've thought.
No, I mean, you've said it before. So,
I'm in a book with a bunch of famous artists and shit like that. So,
yes, I know.
I'm not big shit. I'm not Ethan Van Sciver, for heaven's sakes. I'm not big shit by any means, but I mean, I'm better than like some Tumblr artist who's never sold anything or done anything. And people look at artwork as like, this is an investment in the artist. So I don't think people think just any artist will do on projects. Maybe they do. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below.
I think the way it looks is more important than like, will they have a name or something? But
really? But
okay.
But the name is built on the way it looks. So.
Among our audience of enlightened centrists, okay, I think among like hoity-toity art fucks, they're like, "Ooh, I care about the name."
But the name, the way it looks drives the name. That's why. Like, if we got someone who was a better artist than me,
Adam, are you better than Sammy? That's the real question.
They would be a bigger name. Sammy's way better than me, but she's an actual job. She's just unavailable. Exactly. J-Mac for $50. Thank you so much, J-Mac.
Thank you so much, our surrogate father, J-Mac. Daddy. J-Mac says, check out Zach Hadel on Oni Plays for a great Trump impression. Truly the stuff of legends. He captures his cadence so perfectly. I just by random happenstance saw one of the new Oni Plays Trump videos about Trump seeing an alien in his front yard, and it was very funny. So yes, check it out. It's very funny.
All right, so we'll go ahead and...
Anyways, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your incredibly generous donations. Thank you for all your amazing artwork. Especially you, Body. Thank you. Magnificent. And thank you. You who have made it, even though it's a much shorter stream, you who have made it to the end of the stream are the true heroes. Hope to see you all next time. Have a fantastic...
Bye-bye, everybody!